Hey Proggy friends, Kirostyle here, welcome back to Ace Attorney Investigations. Thank you so much for joining me here on stream. Psycho Reaper, welcome and congratulations on being first. Kieran, hello, Timbit, it's good to see you. Hope you guys are all doing well today. Last time, we found out the true identity of the Yatagarasu, but we still don't know who committed the murders. So we are on to the last third of the final case, Turnabout Ablaze. And we'll reach the ending today. Now you can see they changed the title screen again on us. I thought they only changed it once per episode, but I guess they changed it again because this one's actually a pretty long episode, huh? Oh yeah, and happy Friday the 13th, everyone! Let's get going. March 15th, 12:07 AM, Theatrum Neutralis, lobby. So now we know who the Yatagarasu really was. Yet there remains much to this case that needs to be resolved. Like how the weapons cross country lines, for example. The two countries have incredibly strict security systems and entry procedures. Short of a miracle, it's impossible for someone to have smuggled them in. Hey Vanilla, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by today. Smuggling them in, huh? You'll need to open a new line of investigation on just this aspect alone. But before we do, I would like to go through my evidence once more. Hey Angora, welcome in today. Thanks for dropping by. Unnecessary evidence has been removed. Remaining evidence has been rearranged. Hey, there's a VCR here, sir. Now I can see what's on that tape Detective Bad gave us. This piece of evidence from the KG8 incident, hidden from sight for 10 long years. I just know that this is related to the current case somehow. CB, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you so much for 2 years of support. I really appreciate it. Detective Gumshoe, if you could please play the tape for us. Sure thing, sir. This man, it's Manny Kochin. And he's holding a knife in his hand. This looks like footage from a security camera at the entrance of an apartment building. An apartment building? How do you figure that? Unlike you, I actually read the summary file on the KG8 incidents. And the crime scene was the victim's own apartment. So this footage was shot at the entrance to the victim's own apartment building. At the trial, Mr. Faraday claimed that this piece of footage existed. However, no one could find it. Yes, somehow someone was able to steal it and hide it through Mr. Ernest Amino. I could see how this would have been a definitive piece and why someone would want to hide it. But it's a piece of evidence for a 10-year-old case! There's no way it's relevant to this case we're working on now, sir! Actually, I believe it has everything to do with the case we're working on now. The ringleader even went so far as to use Mr. Portsman to retrieve it. Which means that in this video lies a very inconvenient bit of footage to the ringleader. What? Where? Wait, what was that? Huh? That bit you played just now, please show it to me again. Car. This is something we cannot overlook. Why is that, sir? Look here, Detective Gumshoe.
Take that!
This is the national flag of the Principality of Cadopia. And because it has a national flag on it, we know this to be an official government car. But the question we should be asking ourselves is, what was the government car doing there? Ah, Miss Von Karma and Mr. Edgeworth. So you were here all the time. Ambassador Alba. Thank you very much for continuing the investigation, even at this time of night. If only I was even a tiny bit more careful. This tragedy would never have happened. I am truly sorry. This wasn't your fault, sir. This has nothing to do with how careful you were. You idiot, Kirkus! You couldn't even chase after a simple thief! Now then, let's get down to the real reason why I came looking for the two of you. I would like you to put the investigation on hold for a while. Can you do that? Excuse me? I heard you've apprehended the thief that turned this embassy upside down. And we're in the middle of an event celebrating our country's reconciliation. We can't exactly have the police and detectives walking around here forever. You're scaring the visitors away, so I do hope you can understand how I feel. Ugh, but we must finish our investigation and resolve the remaining issues. Why don't we leave the rest to the Alabastian and Ablaze police? Ambassador, we're so close, just a little more and... Miss Von Karma, I'm afraid I've made up my mind. And without my permission, you can't proceed with your investigation anyway, right? That's true, however... As he said at the very beginning, this area can be considered to be Alabastian soil. In which case we are nothing but foreigners in their land. Is this really where our investigation ends? Shifu, we found Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Shifu, this way! Yo! Agent Lang, you're back on the scene rather quickly. If I laid back and took a break, I'd lose the scent of my prey, Mr. Prosecutor. Agent Lang, why have you returned? Because I have to solve this case no matter what. Well, I'm sorry to inform you. Don't take this the wrong way. I don't suspect you personally. However, a member of Interpol was just found to be a thief, and so... Under these circumstances, I wish to put your investigation on hold. After all, I believe our own police can handle things from here. They are quite capable. At this rate, our investigation really will come to a close. Ha! Ha! Ambassador Alba, I get it now. I really do. Oh, I'm very glad you understand how I feel. No, not that. What I was talking about is this. I know who the killer is behind tonight's murder. You know the killer? Do you really mean that, Agent Lang? Huh, wolves don't lie. You know, one other thing I like about these investigation games is that it really feels like you're in a team, right? Because there's Edgeworth, Kay, Gumshoe, Francisca, and right now, like, Lang is cooperating with us. As opposed to most of the Ace Attorney games, where it's mostly just Phoenix and his partner, Maya, or Emma, or Pearl, or Apollo, or Athena. It's rarely all of them all in one place at one time. Who is it? Well, let me first say that I'm not talking about Mr. Cochin's murder. That was all Sheena. Lang Zi says, the truth lies not at the exit, but rather shines outside the maze itself. The truth is unexpectedly simple. So let me ask you this, who do you think was Damask 2's killer? I'll tell you who. It was you, Francisco Von Karma. I was the killer? Hey, wait, but that's impossible. Yeah! Although, that whip is actually quite... Yeah! Hold your tongue, and that ludicrous remark you're about to make. Agent Lang, are you seriously accusing her of murder? Yeah, I am. He doesn't appear to be joking. Hey sis, I remember that just before Ambassador Alba was to give his speech, he called you into his office, right? Yes, he did, but what does that have to do with anything? I'm getting to that. Furthermore, in order to solve both cases, you moved around rather freely between Alabasta and Babel, did you not?
Objection!
And what is your evidence that I am the killer?
Now go back!
I was just getting to that, trust me. I'll show you in due time. Ambassador Alba, in order for me to bring this case to a close, I'll need to inspect your office one more time. Will you grant me your permission? With things as they are, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I? Good! Let's move out. Oh, and don't even think about running away, sis. My pack will be keeping a close eye on you, so you can bet your bottom dollar on that. As if I would have any reason to flee. But just so we're clear, your logic had better be sound. Because I'll accept nothing short of a perfect explanation. She seems rather upset, not that I blame her. Haha! I expected that you'd accept no less. But we'll see how long you can keep that nose of yours stuck up in the air like that. Ugh!
Hold it!
Agent Lang. As someone related to tonight's case, I request you allow me to take part. And so that I may clean up my superior's mess. I guess I should. The more the merrier, especially when it's a peanut gallery. Oh, in that case, I want to join in too. I still haven't seen what it looks like in Alabasta yet.
If you like Kayan, you gotta let me in too, pal. I can't sit around and do nothing when Ms. Von Karma's in trouble.
Hey, Gummy, let's have a competition and see who can save her first, okay?
Okay, I'll take you up on that. Oh yeah, I'm fired up and raring to go.
As a detective, I don't believe this is something you're supposed to be excited over. Sounds like this is gonna get real interesting. Ambassador Alba, I'll be bringing these kids along for the ride. Very well. But I'd like you to keep in mind that this will be your last chance. I'll have this whole mess cleaned up before you know it. Now let's go. March 15th, 12:53 a.m. Alabastian Embassy, Ambassador's Office. Okay now, first let's go over the facts one more time. Manny Kochin's body was found over in the Secretariat's office in Babel. The weapon that took his life was one of Alabast's ornamental knives. And then the body of Damask II, Mr. Kashino, was found here in the Alabastian Ambassador's office. Through our investigation, we found the murder weapon was this Primadux statue, and that this is actually Babel's statue. This case, no matter how I look at it. Sis, if it wasn't you, there's no one else who could have pulled this off.
Objection!
Agent Lang, do you understand the full implications of what you're saying? Of course I do, sis, and I'm serious. You were on the trail of the smuggling ring, and you wanted any evidence you could find. And so while people were distracted by the Yatagarasu's appearance, you snuck in here. Wait, oops. I guess I must have accidentally pressed the R button. That's when you two ran into each other. You and that other thief who took advantage of the confusion for the fire.
Objection!
Even if all that were true, how do you explain the movement of the weapons? Don't worry, I plan to show that you're the culprit behind that too. You had permission to investigate both embassies at will. With that kind of free reign, you could have easily taken the weapons across country lines. Hey now. Look, he caught her whip with his bare hand. Look at that badass. Look, sis, I thought I already told you I'm not messing around here. Ugh. This case isn't directly tied to the smuggling ring, but Sheena certainly is tied to the smuggling ring. He is right in saying that she is a member of the smuggling ring. However, the connection between this case and the ring could not be deeper than what any of us can imagine. Ugh. Let's get this ridiculous circus over with already. Francisca, you need to calm down. Because you only know the facts of the Alabastian side of the case. I don't believe you can see the case as a whole, and therefore solve it. What? Don't worry, I am taking this seriously as well, and I will prove your innocence. That's the only way to be, Mr. Prosecutor. But can you come up with anything else that can top my hypothesis? Of course, your explanation has to solve the mystery of the moving weapons as well. Of course, and I will. Let us now delve into the truth behind the murder of Damask II. You do understand, don't you, Miles Edgeworth? This isn't just a confrontation against Agent Lang. I keep pressing the button. If you can't figure out how the murder of Damask II is related to the smuggling ring, then it will mean the end of our investigation. As long as I have no good counter-argument to his hypothesis, then the best I can do is walk around this thin tightrope and see what I can do. Come on, Mr. Prosecutor, let's get started. Yes, let's. Border-crossing weapons. One of Alabast's knives was used in Babel to murder Mr. Kochin. And the murder weapon in the killing Damask II is Babel's Primadux statue. Somehow these two objects were able to penetrate the two countries' impenetrable security. The only one who traversed the two countries just before and after the crimes was you. So as long as I can't explain how the weapons moved about, Francisca will remain a suspect. You got it, Mr. Prosecutor, so why don't you stop giving me a hard time? Under these circumstances, who the heck can carry a weapon across country lines? I've worked through every possibility, but there's only one that's plausible. Your boss. Agent Lang, what I've learned from you just now is that you've lost sight of yourself. What are you talking about? By focusing too intently on that which is in front of us, we become blind to the truth. Don't tell me Lang Z never said anything to that effect. You prosecutor! Who do you think you are speaking about Lang Z's proverbs like that? I don't need his proverbs, because my words are all you will need to see the truth. One of Alabast's knives was used in Babel to murder Mr. Kochin. I concur that this knife crossed over country lines. Good, but that's not the only thing that did. We mustn't forget about the other weapon. The knife was only one. And the murder weapon in the killing of Damask II is Babel's Primadux statue. So you're saying that the Primadux statue was also brought over by Francisca? Like I told you before, that's the only way it makes sense. And how exactly did she bring it over? I haven't figured that out yet. That's a rather weak statement considering how sure you are. Maybe, but there's one thing I do know for sure. Somehow these two objects were able to penetrate the two countries' impenetrable security.
Hold it!
Impenetrable? I should hardly think so.
Not so fast!
You've seen the top of the wall between the two countries, right? Who in the world could cross over that? Yeah, not even I can climb over that thing with all the barbed wire. The only way into either embassy is through the doors in the Theatrum Neutralis. So the only way for the knife and the Primadux statue to traverse the two countries is through those security camera-equipped, well-guarded doors. The only one who traversed the two countries just before and after the crimes was you.
Hold it!
Was Francisca really the only person to have traveled between the two countries? According to the guards at both doors, she is the only one to go back and forth. The sis there was an Alabast and the Yatagarasu showed. And then, just before you guys found Mr. Kochin's body, she entered Babel. I think we can assume that's when she brought the knife into Babel.
Objection!
Then how do you explain the Primadux statue? I haven't quite figured that out yet. However, the fact that the two weapons crossed the border proves the killer must have also traveled across the country lines. The only things to cross the border are the Primadux statue and the knife. I should hardly think those are the only two items, Agent Lang. So, Alabast's Primoduct statue crossed the line. The knife crossed the line, but also the other statue must have crossed the line, because they got swapped.
Objection!
Agent Lang, those two items are not the only two to cross the border tonight. Oh. Damascus II was killed with Babel's Primoduct statue, yes. But if that's the case, then tell me, where did Alabast's Primoduct statue go? To Babel! Precisely. And if the two statues really were switched, then this means both statues were smuggled across the border at some point. Which means that a total of 3 items were smuggled across the embassies. Huh. I guess so. But you know what? That doesn't matter the number of items, only that the sis is the only one who could have done it. Because the only person who went back and forth between Alabast and Babel is her. Is that really true? Was there no one else who traveled between the two countries? Actually, there was definitely another person. One who paid a visit to both sides of the wall.
Objection!
Is that really so, Agent Lang? Haha, what a lousy time to try and bluff your way out of this. I checked out what the guard said, along with the security camera's footage. You're not gonna overturn my hypothesis that easily.
Objection!
But suppose there was some other way other than the theater doors. What other way? The other entity that managed to cross the border unharmed. If I pointed out, it would open up a whole new possibility. I know I hesitate to bring this out. As long as this entity exists, the impossible road becomes a possibility. It looks like you got some clever idea in mind. I do, and I can show it through a single piece of evidence. Fine then. Let's see this piece of evidence that will show me this other route. This piece of evidence will show us another way to move between the two countries. Is Detective Lang losing his touch? I guess we're gonna have to see. His behavior does seem a little bit different than usual, huh? But I'm sure there must be a reason behind it.
Take that!
Agent Lang, or I swapped their voices. Agent Lang, I'm sure you're familiar with this unforgettable photo. That supernatural photo, like I said before. Humans can't fly. No, of course not. I understand that perfectly well. And don't start claiming that Sheena somehow grew wings either. I wouldn't dream of claiming that. And I won't allow you to take back what you said either. I'll say it again, it's not humanly possible to fly through the air without wings. So you better have a good explanation for this, Mr. Prosecutor. Ugh. How can I prove who it was that flew through the air in this photo? Wait. Not humanly possible. Eureka! Very well. You will have your explanation. It sounds like a good idea simmering inside that head of yours. Let's hear it. The face hidden within this photo's blurry trailed shadow is...
Take that!
Naturally, the shadow is the third smuggled object, the Primoduct statue replica. You can't be serious! Yadagarasu, or rather Callisto Yu, dressed as Agent Sheena, was inside Babel. She dressed the replica statue up in clothes and launched it through the air. Mr. Prosecutor! You left out a very crucial bit in your explanation. I know I did. She launched it through the air. Huh. And how exactly did she do that? He is literally baring his fangs at me. But he has a point. How exactly did it move through the air like that? As long as this remains unsolved, we won't be able to move any closer to the truth. Which reminds me, didn't he say this earlier? Hey sis, I remember just before Ambassador Alba was to give his speech. He called you to his office, right? So just before the murder, Francisca was called here, right into this very room. If that's the case, then that may be another avenue I can pursue. Agent Lang, in order for me to answer that question, I'll need to hear testimony from Miss Von Karma. Oh, what are you up to now, pretty boy? Earlier, you mentioned something of interest to me. You said that just before the murder occurred, Miss Von Karma had been in this room because Ambassador Alba had called for her. And for that reason alone, you believe her to be the killer. Yeah, I guess I did say something like that. In that case, I believe it's my duty to ask her what her side of the story is. Huh, do you really think a criminal would tell us the honest truth? How dare you! As I've said numerous times, there's absolutely no proof I'm the killer. Miles Edgeworth, don't tell me you suspect me too. I don't. However, I can't ignore the fact you were in this room at one point in the time. Which is why I would like to hear about it from you. Ugh. Francisca, I feel I still don't have enough information. Which is why your testimony is incredibly important to the outcome of this case. Alright. So, what would you like me to talk about? I'd like you to please testify to your movements up until you came to this room. Huh. Alright, let's try this your way for a change. What if she has to say turns out to be a waste of time? I'll place her under arrest faster you can howl no! As you wish. Movements in Alabast. As I said earlier, I was assigned to guard duty in Alabastian Embassy. After I saw the Steel Samurai off on his way towards the ambassador's office, I returned to the Rose Garden for a bit and checked upon the security situation, or situation. After the preparations were in place, I was called back by Ambassador Alba to his office. Francisca, I want us to make this clear from the very beginning. So, what I want to confirm is the only time span in which you were in this office was before the murder occurred. Is that correct? Yes, of course. I see. For now, the only way I can see for us to break out of this situation is to ask Francisca about her testimony in more detail. As I said earlier, I was assigned to guard duty in the Alabastian Embassy. I thought your duty was to fact-find anything you could about the smuggling ring. Yes, that was my job. But upon hearing the Yatagarasu had sent a calling card to the embassy, Ambassador Alba called upon us to protect the embassy instead. That incident 7 years ago, or have you forgotten what happened here back then? Ugh. Anything related to that case we were involved in appears to be rather painful for her. It's not exactly one I can readily forget myself. It looks like you remember the case after all. Of course I do. I inspected every location, every possible escape route, in every aspect of the police's security detail. I did all that. Then after that, after I saw the Steel Samurai off on his way towards the ambassador's office. Oops, I should press that.
Hold it!
So you were in the theater as well? Yes, and I suppose you were also there as well, watching the stage show. Well, yes. So Francisca was there. Well, after the show was over and I saw the Steel Samurai off, I returned to the Rose Garden for a bit and checked upon the security situation. Why did you need to confirm the degree of preparation for even the speech? For security's sake, of course. What other reason could I have had? No one knew just how the Yatagarasu would plan on getting in, right? Yes, I suppose you're right. And in the end, the Yatagarasu did choose to appear in the Rose Garden. Even if it did turn out to be nothing more than a shadow. Ugh, who would have thought that she would use a shadow? Ugh! Calm down, Francisca. She must still be nursing a grudge over the fact that she couldn't figure it out herself. Anyway, there was no one in the Rose Garden. And we were aware the speech was set to start soon thereafter. After all the preparations were in place, I was called back by Ambassador Alba to his office.
Hold it!
At that time, Damascus II's body had yet to be found in this room, is that correct? That's right. But Ambassador Alba was there. One could hardly miss his rather large presence. A criminal will say anything to get out of getting arrested. How do we know you're not lying? Well, if you need proof, I'd be happy to oblige you. Seriously? Like I keep telling you, when I arrived at this office, Ambassador Alba was already here. He was standing by the flower box on the windowsill, watering his plants. Ah, I can attest to that. I remember speaking with a lovely lady around that time here in my office. Ugh. Alright then, add that statement to your testimony, and let's hear some details. So Ambassador Alba was in this room at the time, was he? When I arrived, Ambassador Alba was watering the flowers on the windowsill. For the sake of being thorough, I'd like to ask you something. How did you know that Ambassador Alba was watering his plants at the windowsill? What do you mean by that? The entrance to this room is on this side, however the window is on the opposite side. If what you say is true, then when you entered the room, his body would have been like a wall. He would have been blocking your view of what he was doing. Is that not correct? I suppose a bit hard to see around him. But fortunately for me, Ambassador Alba is not an immovable wall. I knocked before I entered, and as I did, he turned around to greet me, with a watering can in his hand. So it's only natural to believe he was watering his plants, right? I suppose. After his greeting, we spent a little time talking about his flowers. He obtained them himself and is growing them with the utmost care, you know. Yes. The plants in this room, they are all like my children. The passion flowers in the flower box on the windowsill are growing beautifully too. All 4 of them are in full bloom. This one, Karma. What did you just say now? I said the flowers are growing beautifully. What about that statement you do not understand? What do I not understand? I do not understand why a certain thing is the way it is. I'd like for you to append that statement to your testimony. Very well. There were 4 large passion flowers in full bloom in the flower box.
Hold it!
I'd like to confirm this with you one more time. There were 4 passion flowers in bloom in that box, correct? Yes, I should hardly think I could have miscounted such eye-catching flowers. There must be a deeper meaning to this statement, and it appears I must take a gamble on its meaning for me to make any progress. The Prima statues were already switched by the time the murder happened. In light of that fact, what Francisca saw in this room before the crime is of incredible importance. But I only see 2 flowers!
Objection!
Francisca, for some odd reason, your testimony contradicts with this piece of evidence. It does appear that way. Huh, I knew it. I knew we couldn't trust your words, sis. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you doing discrediting Miss Von Karma like this?
Yeah, sir. If you keep this up, she's gonna get taken away, sir. Yeah.
All I've done is state what I saw. I've not made a single mistake in my testimony. And for this, I'm still under suspicion for murder. Is the number of flowers really all that important at this juncture, Miles? At the very least, it is a contradiction in this enigmatic case. One that I find hard to dismiss as irrelevant. Ha! Let's hear it, Mr. Prosecutor. What does the number of flowers have to do with anything? What does it prove? I believe the answer to that will become clear if we were to examine that flower box. How did this contradiction come about? There must be something behind this discrepancy. They're my beloved flowers. I've grown them with the utmost care. So I ask you, please be gentle with them as you examine them, Mr. Edgeworth. I understand. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. This watering can is a rather robust design. Mr. Edgeworth, why are you telling us stuff we can clearly see for ourselves? Plus, if you keep wasting time talking about that, Miss Von Karma's gonna get arrested. I better examine something else. The name of these flowers. I believe they're called passion flowers. Despite being called flowers, they are actually a species of vine. They appear to be growing well, and are well supported by these plant supports. Yeah, but no matter how I look at it, it looks like there's only 2 here to me. You realize, don't you, sis? Your little lies failed you. Ugh, Miles Edgeworth. Hurry up and shut this man up for me already. I suppose I'll need to use some evidence to shut him up, won't I? Not yet. I still have a thing or 2 left to examine. Hey Danger, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by today. This patch of soil looks as though it has something removed from it. Huh, what are you doing, Mr. Prosecutor? Why'd you climb up all of a sudden? I'm still here waiting for an explanation, you know. Did you know, Agent Lang, flowers are best appreciated in silence? Tuh. It looks like 2 things were pulled out of this flower box. The name of these flowers, I believe they're called passion flowers. Despite being called flowers, they're actually a species of vine. They appear to be growing well and are well supported by these plant supports. Yeah, but no matter how I look at it, it looks like there's only 2 here to me. You realize, don't you, sis? Your little lies failed you. Ugh, Miles Edgeworth. Hurry up and shut this man up for me already. I suppose I'll need to use some evidence to shut him up, won't I? I believe I have just the piece of evidence you require. Oh, you do, don't you? You have such confidence in that face of your current plight. But I highly doubt it'll last until the end. You howl like a wolf, Agent Lang. But we'll see if you have any bite to back up that bark after you see the evidence. The truth the passion flowers reveal can be seen in this piece of evidence. The design of these things are rather eccentric for hair sticks. Huh? Really? Well, if they're that strange, what should I do with them? I have to say, these are by far the most bizarre hair sticks I've ever seen. In any case, Kate, there's something I've been meaning to ask. How exactly do you stick that hair stick of yours into your hair like that? Huh? That's a secret. Curiouser and curiouser. Hey, take a look at this, Mr. Edgeworth. There's dirt on here. It's totally rooting the beauty of the hair stick. I suppose. Why is there dirt stuck on the end of a hair stick in the first place?
Take that!
Sheena, who was supposedly in Babel the entire time, had these hair sticks on her. They look exactly like the plant supports in this flower box. In other words, I believe it can be said these hair sticks are in actuality support sticks for the passion flowers. Huh, and so what? Is this really all that important to the case? Of course it is. It means we found yet another item that was smuggled between the countries tonight. Think about it logically, Agent Lang. These sticks were originally in Alabast, but somehow they wound up in Sheena's hands, who was in Babel the whole night. So make no mistake, these sticks were smuggled somehow, just like the knife and statue. Very well then. I want to hear from you exactly how they wound up in Babel. How did these support sticks find their way to Babel and why? There must be some reason as to why they ended up there. Aha! So that's why. Agent Lang, if you would please take a look at this and tell me its shape. Hey Luke, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. It's just another stick, isn't it? And so it is. But the shape of the support sticks is what is important. But when they're used with something in this room, that's when it all comes into focus. And the object that completes the picture when used with the support sticks is...
Eureka!
That's a crossbow! Wait, you're not really suggesting... I am. These hair sticks, or rather plant support sticks, they make for perfect arrows. Ayah! I've done it. I found the common thread that connects the two offices. But this thread has yet to be completely untangled. Even using the arrows, how does this explain how the statues were transported? Furthermore, who could it have been who fired these sticks as arrows? There must be a common thread that ties all these things together. Mr. Prosecutor, hold up a second. You do realize what happens when you tie a statue to an arrow, right? They don't fly at all. Border Crossing, Part 2. So Babel's statue was draped in the Yatagrass's clothes and shot over here. Even if you fired the arrows from this side, they won't go far with the statue tied to them. I don't think I need to tell you the Primitive statues didn't sprout wings. You're a realist after all, aren't you? Primitive statues didn't sprout wings. Of course they didn't. Glad you understand. I feel much better already. I was afraid for a second you were unaware of that crucial fact. It's only crucial because you're under the belief that wings are necessary to the equation. What? You need to free your mind a bit more and let it fly, like a bird on the wind. The primitive statues flew, but not on a wing. Allow me a bit of your time, and I'll explain this mysterious phenomenon to you. So Babel's statue was draped in the Yatagrazu's clothes and shot over here.
Hold it!
But that incredible scene just happened to have been caught on film, resulting in this photo. Huh, what an incredible scene it was. This photo was taken by a freelance photojournalist, right? Yes, so I hear. Not every photojournalist is known to be honest, right? Especially not the ones that sell photos of spirits and giant creatures to tabloids. Yes, I know what you mean. I've seen those sorts of photos many a time in court. There have been times when those photos have turned out to be telling the truth. If you ever stood in a court of law, you would know that it's entirely plausible. Huh, you really believe the stuff you're spewing right now? A courtroom certainly is a strange place if what you say is true. But there really is something odd about that photo no matter how you look at it. Even if you fired the arrows from this side, they wouldn't go that far with the statue tied to them.
Hold it!
But we are in agreement that an arrow by itself would reach the other side, correct? But just the arrow by itself is pretty meaningless, don't you think, Mr. Prosecutor? Because the things they want to smuggle were a lot bigger than nothing. No, that's not necessarily true. What? What I need right now is not further discussion of my conclusions. It's the launching of my conclusions. What the shooter wants to launch with that crossbow is not the statue themselves. Rather, something a crossbow can launch that could be used to move the statues. If it wasn't a statue that was tied to the arrows, then what did the crossbow launch?
Hold it!
The thing the crossbow launched. Allow me to show you the answer. Well, come on then. Show me what you've got. But I warn you, I'll know when you're just bluffing. This is what was launched from this Alabastian office with the crossbow.
Take that!
Finally we have reached this point in our discussion. For I present to you that which was carried by the arrow from the crossbow. I get it now, Mr. Prosecutor. I can see exactly what you're trying to say. You're saying the wire was tied to an arrow and then shot into Mr. Kochin's office. All the way from the 5th floor of the Alabastian Embassy. Down to the 3rd floor of the Babelese Embassy. If what you're claiming is what really happened, I can see how Alabast's Primadux statue could be moved. Gravity could be used to move the statue down the wire from the 5th to the 3rd floor. But then, what about Babel's Primadux statue? The dark shadow in this photo is clearly flying away from Babel. Going the opposite way of gravity from the 3rd floor of the Babelese Embassy up to the 5th floor of the Alabastian Embassy. How do you explain that? Aha! I think I finally see how the gears behind this whole trick work. Agent Lang, the motion used behind this trick. I wonder if perhaps you have yet to envision how it works in your head. Motion? What motion? This is the motion that was employed to smuggle Babel's Primadux statue. Hey Aru, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by today. It's good to see you. I believe it was done via rotary motion. If the two statues were transported simultaneously. Simultaneously? Get real! The statues would collide somewhere along the way.
Objection!
Did I ever say there was only one line of wire between the two offices? If you shot an arrow with the two ends of wire tied to it, a circular belt can be formed.
Knuckle back!
Lang Zi says, don't object and call a success what is beyond reasonability. Taking into account the tension difference between the two wires. The top one would sag too much to the point where the statues would collide anyway.
Objection!
Agent Lang. As you know, the Primadux statue is one-of-a-kind national treasure, and the fact that Babel's statue is a hollow replica of the real statue. It would naturally be lighter than the real one, meaning that my idea is very possible. Lang Zi says... Ugh! Here's what I believe happened. Miss Yu and her mystery co-conspirator set themselves up in two different rooms. The co-conspirator bridged the rooms by shooting the two ends of the wire down on one arrow. Then the two of them covered the statues and proceeded to transport the statues. After the switch was completed, another arrow was fired. carrying the other end of the wire down to Babel, where it was to be disposed of. And to do that, Miss Yu hid it inside the grandfather clock. QED. Ha! Ha ha! Ugh! This proves it, right, Agent Lang? That I'm not the killer. Not yet, sis. I still haven't yet had my dessert yet. Right, Mr. Prosecutor? The proof is in the pudding, as it were. Pudding is a nice dessert. So, do you think you could do it? Can you prove that what you said is what happened? Because remember, if you can't, I'll be taking a certain someone back home with me as a souvenir. I agree that as long as there's no proof, my hypothesis remains just that. However, what I've laid out is no mere hypothesis, for there's one more piece of evidence. One more? That should be interesting. You think you have a piece of evidence that will turn your hypothesis into fact? Well then, let's see it, Mr. Prosecutor. The thing that made it possible to create a circular belt out of a length of wire. I believe it is right here in this very room. Now then, I believe this is what made the circular belt transportation method possible.
Take that!
Huh! Looks like you dropped another bomb on us yet again. The last piece to the trick are two pulleys. Precisely. The ceiling fans double as pulleys in this case. And thanks to the fact, there's one installed in each of the offices. The ceiling fans made for the perfect pulley set for the wire to run on. Ugh! Ooh! This must be it. This is how the smugglers bypass the impenetrable security. Haha! Haha! Ugh. You really are something else, Mr. Prosecutor. I bet you figured it out already, haven't you? You know who the big hotshot that set up this real-life stage show is, didn't you? The person who set up this rather large and complex stage show needs to be someone who had foreknowledge of the existence of a ceiling fan in both the Alabastian and Babelese offices, and that the passion flower support stakes could be used as arrows. The real mastermind behind this case. Well, don't you dare make this wolf wait for his food. Why are you so hesitant, Miles Edgeworth? If you can't say who it is, why don't you present something that you always do? A single point of the finger here in this case will explode into an international incident. However, it's already too late for me to stop the forward momentum. It appears I have no choice now but to rush in. There is a piece of evidence that will point us to who the mysterious mastermind is.
Take that!
And this is it. Oh, did I do the wrong statue? Where's my real dessert? How long do you intend to keep it from me? That piece of evidence isn't satisfying at all. Oh, I did the wrong statue. And stop being picky with your food. The person who concocted the trick used to smuggle the statues. I should already have the piece of evidence that shows who that is. I just have to present it, no matter what the cost. There's a piece of evidence that'll point us to who the mysterious mastermind is. Okay, I presented this one, right? Is this
Take
one?
that! Not so fast!
Wait, is this? No, that's not it. Oh wait, no! This is not what I'm going for. I know what they want now.
Take that!
This smuggling could not have been possible without the use of the crossbow. Furthermore, the arrows that were shot by the crossbow were plucked, as it were, from the flower box in this very room. They were planted so long ago that passion flowers had time to grow so big that Miss Von Karma didn't even notice the arrows when she visited the room today. On top of this, the fact the culprit knew that both offices had ceiling fans tells us that the person had very detailed information on the embassy's layout. So you may have already guessed the person I'm accusing of hatching this plan is the person who grew the flowers in the flower box with the utmost care. Thus, it can only be you, Kirkus Alba! Are you out of your mind, Miles Edgeworth? I'm certain of what I'm saying, and I'm sure that he is the culprit. Tell me, Mr. Prosecutor, what was the ambassador trying to accomplish by doing all the stuff you just outlined? Why in the world would he need to use a trick like that? I understand your need to doubt me. However, there's one thing that stands out to me as very odd. Just one thing, huh? This one single end result Ambassador Alba sought to obtain. If I were to examine the focus of this complex trick, I believe we'll finally find the answer to everything. Everything will become clear once we examine this piece of evidence. Okay, now I need the statue. I think I need this one.
Take that!
I would fully understand the reasoning had the situation been the reverse. However, to go through the trouble of swapping the real Primadux statue for the fake, I sense a very shady reason for such a bizarre action. And who better to ask for that reason than King Primadux himself? I see. Ambassador will be examining that statue now, with or without your permission. This guy kind of looks like the Steel Samurai, don't you think? Maybe it's because they look alike, that he was picked to be the Goodwill Ambassador. I suppose that's possible. Take a look at this area around the base of his neck. It looks like a gap. Hey, you're right! Maybe it's meant to be some kind of secret. Perhaps it's possible to open the statue from this gap in its construction. What?! Hurry up and open it, Miles. Alright, here goes. Wow, it really did open up. Hey, what's this thing that fell out? I believe a more thorough examination of it is required. What in the... is this... Huh! Is this what I think it is? It's a plate for making counterfeit bills! Somehow, it appears we have at long last arrived at the exit to this complex labyrinth. We finally hold within our hands one of the counterfeit money plates. And the reason why the replica was smuggled into Alabasta to begin with. The Primadux statue could only be handled by the ambassador or the secretariat. And the replica is nothing more than a hollow shell covered in gold. These two circumstances make the statue the ideal object in which to hide contraband. After receiving the statue containing the counterfeit plate from Sheena, the ambassador had the misfortune of accidentally running into Damask II. Surprised by the thief, the ambassador raised the replica statue at Damask II, and... then, in order to frame the Steel Samurai of the murder, he covered the samurai sword in blood. Well, Ambassador Alba? Yeah, he got bonked. You're the leader of the smuggling ring. My country's in a mess, and it's all because of you. You're the one who killed Damask II. Answer us. I never thought you would figure things out to this level. However, there is one point I disagree with you on. The head of the smuggling ring was Mr. Kochen.
Not so fast!
Quit screwing around! I have no sympathy for someone who would try to pass the guilt onto a dead man. If there's one thing I'm sure of, it's that you're the real ringleader, Kirkus Alba. So I'm pretty sure that Lang, his argument about it being Franziska, was not well founded because he knew the investigation was about to come to a close, and he needed an excuse to bring us up to this office and continue the argument before Ambassador Alba kicked us all out of the embassy. I think that's what Lang was trying to do. But he didn't have proof, so he needed Edgeworth's help. That's what I think he's trying to do when he brought us up here. It's not good to speak with such subjectivity, you know, Agent Lang. Subjectivity? My conclusion is anything but, and is a result of logic and investigation. Logic and investigation? Only seconds ago you were ready to arrest Miss Von Karma. Hey Fate, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by today. Well, thanks for calling, Kirby.
I don't think we can give such flip-floppy logic any real weight, do you?
Huh. Oh, I think he's about to explain it. Haha! It looks like you still don't get why I came back.
Excuse me?
You see, the reason I came back is so I can stick my fangs into your wrinkly old neck. From the very beginning, my real target has been you.
What?
Agent Lang, I demand an explanation. Sorry, sis. I didn't mean to put you through all that. I knew you were innocent from the very beginning. You did. I knew that this whole incident had been meticulously planned and prepared for. So naturally, the occupant of this room, Ambassador Alba, seemed the most suspicious. Without the Ambassador's permission, we couldn't get to take another look around. Ah, so that's why you put on this big show to accuse Francisca of the murder. Using Francisca as the bait, you were able to gain us entry and investigative rights. Yeah, if I hadn't done that, I doubt the Ambassador would have given the okay to poke around. So that's what all this was about. Very well. I will forgive you. But in exchange for using me as bait, you will take some responsibility and help us find the truth. Agent Lang, for giving me such a great opening, I thank you. You know, I just knew, Mr. Prosecutor, that somehow, if we were able to find some proof by investigating this room, that you would be able to figure out the real culprit with your special brand of logic. I love how the game keeps going back to Edgeworth's logic to really emphasize his logic mechanic. Everyone's like, wow, your logic is so good. You use your logic, this special power of yours, your logic. Huh. The evidence detectives collect combined with the logic of a prosecutor. That's just as it should be in a prosecutor-detective team, right? I don't know about that. But one thing I do know is I'm itching to see that old man gets what's coming to him.
Oh, you're quite scary when you want to be, aren't you?
You were the one who was planning to use me and push all the guilt onto the sis. But unfortunately for you, you misjudged me.
Agent Lang, I wish for you to stop trying to intimidate me. What we need right now is evidence and proof. I wonder if you have what is necessary to prove that I am the head of the smuggling ring.
Objection!
Don't be such a sore loser. If you really are the head of the smuggling ring, then you should acknowledge your crimes with dignity.
Dignity? That is nothing more than a fool's insincere display of strength. If you really wish for me to acknowledge my crimes, then I would like to first see some of this thing you call evidence. Ugh. I tell you, I knew nothing, really. I didn't even know that a counterfeit plate was hidden inside that statue.
Objection!
You swapped a real statue that vested your country the authority to rule for a fake. It doesn't make any sense you didn't know anything.
It doesn't make sense? Where doesn't it make sense? Can you prove that it doesn't make sense?
Hey Tsuki, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. Ugh. He's really got us. He's turned the entire situation around against us. The proof that Interpol has been after, which points to the man as the ringleader. If we can somehow find proof now, then we have to see that justice is finally served. Is there nothing I can use to break this case wide open? The trump card and the videotape. With those two items, we might be able to finally bring this man down. But the card is evidence from a case that Mr. Faraday hid away in secret. And the tape was stolen by Detective Bad from the police. They're both illegal evidence. No matter what, a protector of the law can't be allowed to use such pieces of evidence.
Needless to say, we Von Karmas are commanded to achieve nothing but victory. and by any means necessary. The only way to bring someone like that to justice was to do so outside the courts. That's what we thought at the time.
I no longer follow the path of Manfred von Karma. And I won't follow the path of the Yatagarasu. This leaves me with what? What creed will I believe in? If I want to pursue the truth, then I will sully my hands in illegality. And if I want to pursue justice, then I will lose the truth. What is the law, and what is justice? Which path is a prosecutor supposed to follow? That choice is one I must make by my own hand here and now. I think that, if I remember correctly, it actually doesn't matter what your choice is here. He will go down the same path regardless. Let's use it. We got it anyways, right? We worked so hard to get this trump card. There's no limit to the law. Any limit that exists was set there by man. When a person goes beyond that limit, then the law too crosses into new territory. For what reason were laws invented? The answer is that which I must now show. Ambassador Alba, I wonder if you might recognize this.
Oh, I wonder what that card is. I've never seen that before in my life.
It's a directives card, used by the leader of the ring to relay instructions to his subordinates.
Oh, is that what it is?
This card was sent to the real culprit behind the KG8 incident 10 years ago. A man by the name of Mr. Manny Kochen.
Oh, so why do you have such a card in your possession?
Because it was hand-delivered to me by a certain great thief, the Yatagarasu.
The Yatagarasu gave that to you? Don't talk nonsense and let's be serious, Mr. Edgeworth. Do you have any proof that the card contains directions from the ringleader?
I'll have you know that the card is not the only thing I was given.
What?
This contains security footage that was shot just before the start of the KG8 incident.
The KG8 incident?
The card and the video. These two pieces of evidence are what will seal your fate. I also like the idea that Sheena gave us the hair sticks right before we left, and kind of gave us like a snide, oh, maybe this will come in handy. Like, she wanted us to come to this point, even though she was working for the smuggling ring. I like that implication.
Oh, very interesting. I must admit I'm very curious now. Very curious indeed in these case-deciding pieces of evidence you're presenting.
Pray the Yatagarasu have been chasing all this time now stands before me. I can't allow this man, who has had free reign for 10 long years, to simply walk away. Now's the time for you to bring fruition to the valiant spirit that was given to me. March 15th, 1:34 a.m., Theatrum Neutralis, lobby.
So what is this interesting thing you want to show me?
The trump card and the videotape. These two pieces of evidence together make for the ultimate hand. And this is where the real meaning behind Detective Bad's words will be realized. Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, sir!
What you see here is security footage shot just before the KG8 murder occurred. From this footage, we know the card is a directives card from the smuggling ring. This is the section that proves the card was used to relay an order.
Take that!
As you can see, Mr. Kochen is holding the card in his right hand.
I see. The killer is indeed holding a card with the exact same design on it.
You know, Mr. Kochen was really careless to have this, like, very clear security footage. Like, look how close he is to the camera. And he's clearly holding, like, the knife and the card in both hands. Like, he should have known better.
That card and the one you have, just because they look the same doesn't mean they are, does it now?
Ah, but there's a very easy way for me to prove they are, in fact, one and the same. All we have to do is simply take a look at this. According to Detective Bad, Ambassador Alba's directives card bears the mark of a three-legged raven. Or in other words, a Yatagarasu. I suppose this mark was the inspiration for the group's name, the Yatagarasu. A section of the text has been obscured by blood, but it's clear the writing is Kodopian. According to Detective Bad, Silence CCU is what is written here, along with the method to be used and where she lived. The evil intent displayed in this writing will not go unpunished. This dark red blood, yes, this is your proof. Proof of the orders on the card were played out in that terrible tragedy. The blood belonged to the victim of the KG8 incident. With a bit of DNA testing, we could very easily verify this as fact. If you have no objections, then I'd like for you to take a look at this next piece of footage. This car that passed by in front of the victim's apartment building. It's an official Kodopian government car. What? Detective Gumshoe, if you could please magnify the footage. Enhance. This area of the footage directly links the smuggling ring with Kodopia.
Take that!
The shape of this pocket, and the directives card in it. It tells us without a doubt, this person in this car is Mr. Kochen. Ugh! The license plate on the car was also captured by the security camera. And with it, we can easily find out who was sitting in this car on that day 10 years ago. Ugh! Which is why I can say with confidence that you were riding in this car on that day. Ugh! Huh. You've done well, boy, to make it this far. However, about your claim I was riding in the car at the time, that's going to be mighty difficult to prove. How so? I like how Edgeworth doesn't even seem to react at his transformation. The Principality of Kodopia no longer exists. So naturally, all records from that time period are also no longer exist. That arrogance. What he really means is he's already erased all traces of them. Are we finished here, boy? The only weapon I've left to me now is this piece of footage. There must be something here that I can use against him.
Take that!
What the? Ambassador Alba. Yes, what is it? You were once an army man in the service of Kodopia. And it was you who made the many missions you participated in successes, correct? Why the sudden backhanded praises, boy? Although to be sure, the brilliant medals on my breast were awarded to me during the era of Kodopia. But now I'm the only one who owns this particular medal. You're the only one who owns that medal, you say? In that case, the only person it could be who's sitting in this car is you. You played yourself, man. You transformed and showed off your medal, and that is exactly what we needed. How do you figure that? By the medal captured here in the footage. It's clearly the same exact medal as the one on your chest. What? This is how it will be, but I won't look back. For this is the path I've chosen. Ugh. You've moved me with your devotion to this case, Mr. Edgeworth. Why is he taking such an arrogant stance with me? It's almost looking possible, isn't it? For the lot of you to come this far. It looks like I just might lose our little game this time. You might lose the game this time. You don't get another round, Mr. Ambassador. Is that a fact? Very well. I've decided to confess and admit my guilt. You're going to confess?
and I will accept whatever punishment may come as a result. What the? Regarding the Damask the 2 murder, I admit, I did it out of self-defense. You're claiming it was justified self-defense. Damask the 2nd attacked me, and I felt my life was in danger. If I hadn't done what I did, I might be the one you found dead instead of him. Haha! What a pathetic performance! Haha, I'm not giving you one.
Wow, you two really know how to laugh at inappropriate times.
If you wish to claim it was justified self-defense, then we will need to see some evidence. It's always the evidence with you, isn't it? But if that's what you require, I'll prove it. That man left a mark on me when he attacked.
What?
I don't particularly want to show it off, but this is proof that it was in self-defense. I'm an old man, and sometimes I don't pay enough attention when I should. But Damask the 2nd didn't have a single weapon on his body. Hold on, it's nothing to get worked up over because I hid the weapon.
You hid it?
I'm sorry, but as you know, a murder is a murder, even if it's in self-defense. And I couldn't let it become public, seeing as how I am an ambassador. This is the weapon you see, my special bonsai trimming shears.
Ugh, it's covered in blood.
He was trembling quite badly during our struggle, but that's when he grabbed the shears that were sitting in my office and attacked. As you see, it was an act of self-defense.
Is he right, Mr. Edgeworth?
Since he has both a wound and a weapon that caused it, it's enough to declare it so.
No way!
Oh, which reminds me, I guess there is one more accusation I need to resolve. Smuggling and counterfeiting. Unfortunately, all of that is my secretary's doing. I had no knowledge it was going on.
Stop spewing nonsense. You're trying to throw my investigation under the bus in your desperation. If you want to get real honest, everything in this case could be connected to you. The murder of Damask II was done in self-defense. In my trials, no man escapes his crime alive.
Perhaps so, if you were my opponent in court. However, there's one very important fact I think you may have forgotten. What is that?
That's what you mean. Extraterritoriality.
That's right. This embassy sits on what is effectively Alabastian soil. So any trial that's to be held will be held in Alabast. Therefore, the crime I just admitted to will never be tried in your courts.
Agent Lang, what is Interpol's stance on this? Agents investigate. That's our job. The judgment of people who have confessed to the crime. That's the court's job.
Ugh. And I've already confessed to all of my crimes, Agent Lang. Furthermore, by the very nature of my position, I have full extraterritorial rights. These rights are effective even in your country's soil, therefore, no matter where a crime may take place, I will never stand trial in one of your courts. That arrogance and your expression. That's nothing like the face of someone who's ready to accept the consequences. Don't tell me of your own country's judicial system eating right out of your hands. These crimes you all speak so seriously of, to me this has all been nothing more than a game. You may chase me out of this embassy with your accusations, but it's no big deal. Alabast has numerous other embassies in other countries around the world. All you would accomplish is you would change the backdrop of our little game.
These 2 layers of protection that extraterritoriality provides him. This is why he's one of those who cannot be brought to court.
You see now, don't you? I live in a whole different world than you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll need to go fetch your eviction papers.
Ugh. Is there nothing we can do? To be continued. It's getting pretty interesting, isn't it? So it says, he who is above the law. March 15th, 2:11 a.m. Theatrum Neutralis, lobby. I can't believe it, sir! Extraterritoriality! Yes, and there's nothing we can really do about that. In the end, we didn't have enough authority to bring him to justice. I can't believe even though we know he's the boss, we can't lay a finger on him! I know. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Sorry to skip out on you, but I've got some business to take care of. If we can't even give an evil guy like him a slap on the wrist, then what the heck were laws created for? What good are they? I like how no one even says bye to Lang. He just walks off and Edgeworth doesn't say a thing. If the law can't help us, then I'll go with the Yatagarasu and take care of this myself. Don't you dare. Mr. Edgeworth. Sorry, that was a bit too harsh. I know how you feel, sir. We're trying to take on an ambassador after all. And he did tell us earlier to get out of the theater. This is kind of their country, I guess. But I feel like I've been slapped across the face for just doing my job. What am I going to do? Should I retreat for now and formulate a better plan of attack? Come on, everyone. We can't give up yet. Okay. I want you to think about something for a sec. We've never let up for even a second as long as we don't stop investigating. We might find the rotten treasure hidden here. She's right. Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. You're right, Kay. You're right, Kay. Very well. Let us reopen the investigation and see what we find. Come on, Kay. Right behind you. Okay, I'll go check out Babel a bit more, sir. And I have something that I need to investigate further in Alabast. Now then, before I gather any more information, I should do a bit of housekeeping. Passion Flowers data erased from my organizer. I like how we only got rid of one thing. Ambassador Alba seemed agitated over something. I wonder why. There are two special circumstances that surround the ambassador. First, the embassy itself has extraterritorial rights. If something happens on Alabastian soil, we're unable to legally prosecute him. Cool, it sounds like embassies are the perfect place to steal whatever you want. And murder Damas II and run a smuggling operation and make counterfeit bills, apparently. I thought all the counterfeiting was done by Mr. Kochin in Babel. Yes, he apparently used the embassy's coupon printing press to do it. It's the same story over there anyway. Babel also has extraterritorial rights. Which brings me to my next point, the ambassador's extraterritorial rights. Those rights are effective even in our own country. Really? No matter what happens, he can never be tried in our courts. He retains some very special rights. Basically, no matter what wrongs he may commit, we can't bring him to trial here. So I guess we really don't stand a chance, do we? We might stand a chance if we can somehow nullify either one of his special rights. Yes? We've come too far to give up. We must expose Ambassador Alba's misdeeds, Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, of course. And we gotta find a way to steal the truth and get it out there, for my father's sake. Yes, and we will. The reason for Ambassador Alba's nervousness must still be here somewhere. Furthermore, I need to pin down exactly what happened in here. I'll start by thoroughly examining this room for any information I can find. Mr. Edgeworth, if you don't pay attention, Ambassador Alba's gonna get away. Yes, I know. Now hurry up and do that swing thing you always do. I have no idea what you're talking about. What? You don't? Oh, come on, you know what I'm talking about. That thing you do. Are you talking about logic? Yeah, that's it. So hurry up and let's swing already. Alright, alright. To be honest, it's been a bit hard to connect everything up until now just by looking. However, I should be able to piece things together by taking another look at my leads. Perhaps now is the time to use logic and reason my way to the truth. Hello, and welcome to the Embassy of Babel. I'm sorry, but I don't really need to enter your country at this time. Right now, for a limited time here at the Babelese Embassy, we're offering the very special Experience of the Terrifying Fires, Ashes Tour. So how about it? Shall I sign you up? We're fine, thanks. We have an investigation to run. It's been less than 24 hours and they already have a tour of the fire. You can see the Babelese Embassy, which is undergoing major renovations. From room expansions to garden upkeep, it looks like a lot of construction is going on. Mr. Paleno said all this work is really hard on him. He said that since Mr. Kochin passed away, that maybe I can work part-time for him. She got really chummy with that ambassador. What can I say? I just have a good nose for money. That's actually a pretty good gig for someone your age, Kay. These flowers were sent by Global Studios. Global Studios? This is the same dialogue, and I'm gonna skip it. See, it's like every time we come back to Theatrum Brutalis, some of the dialogue in different places changes, like this and the guard, and some of it stays the same. Unfortunately, they all lose their checkmark, even though it's something you read before. Oh, it looks like there's nothing for the screen anymore, though. Or the flags or the door. On the orders of Ambassador Alba, no one's allowed into Alabast. But I thought a lady with a whip passed through here not long ago. She is from Interpol and had the proper paperwork. So while I was reluctant to let her in... sounds like Francisco, right? Besides, if I didn't... that whip of hers... Yep. Definitely Francisca. It's a backdrop they used in the Steel Samurai stage show today. Oh, I don't think this is the first time they let me examine the backdrop, because usually when I come here, I don't think I get the option to examine it. Unless I've just been missing it the whole time. It looks like he has nothing to say about the window here, though. I love the climax of that show. Steel Samurai Sushi Slash! That was the first time I'd seen that special move. But well, the Jammin' Ninja stage show's climax was much better, of course. Oh, is that a fact? That scene where he sang for Princess Misola and gave her those hair sticks? I could totally feel the love there in my heart. Perhaps the Jammin' Ninja is more popular with the female audiences. Flowers were sent by a variety of people and businesses to celebrate the Goodwill event. Even the Steel Samurai received some flowers from the ambassadors. There's so many bouquets here, it's like a wedding ceremony. I believe the flowers for those are for a slightly different reason. What do you mean? This event was supposed to be like a wedding between Alabast and Babel, right? Actually, I believe they're more in a state of divorce. Okay then, this event was supposed to be the remarriage ceremony. I suppose you can call it that. This was taken just before the two ambassadors gave their bouquets to Steel Samurai. Wait, is it just my imagination? Or is there something in this picture that I've seen before? I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious nook and cranny. There's that troublemaker standing there smack in the center making two peace signs. Wow, the Steel Samurai stands out even more than the two ambassadors in this picture. Well hey, the person playing the Steel Samurai is one of your friends, right? No. I have no idea who he is. Wait, but you just said he. You knew which gender he was, so you must know him, right? I beg that you please refrain from talking about that person with me ever again. Mr. Paleno has a really great smile, don't you think? I bet he was really happy they were going to become Kadopia again. Perhaps, but instead he became the greatest victim in today's case. An ambassador like him who is always thinking of his country is really to be admired. Yeah, and although this happened, I hope they'll be able to reunite the country someday. I hope so as well, but for that to happen, we need to solve this case first. We need to see that those who would harm the New Kadopia are locked away. And we will. It seems that lilies are in the center of its bouquet with an accent of chamomile. Wow! I can totally smell the wonderful fragrance. Hey, this is just a picture. Ugh, look, I know that. But it's nice to imagine things once in a while, you know? Where's your sense of empathy? You can smell the fragrance of flowers from a photo. It's more like a hallucination. You don't have to be mean about it. Let's just drop this before it's in full bloom. I can't believe he was pretending to be a harmless old grandpa. Talk about deceptive. I don't suppose anyone expected him to change that drastically. I bet he's thinking of something evil behind that cheery smile. Okay, please try to remain calm and focused on the here and now. Yeah, you're right. Sorry I got worked up there. Well, the only way we're gonna be able to steal the truth is if we keep on investigating. It appears to be a bouquet of Persian cyclamens and roses. Wow, you even know the exact species? I never would have figured you for an expert on flowers. It's because of those flowers the old lady sends me every month. Just look at me, I sound like some sort of botanist. So what exactly is this yellow flower here? That one. I'm not sure. What? You don't know? As far as I can recall, I've never seen a flower like this before. But I feel as though I've seen this shape somewhere before. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? There's a striking flower ornament on the handle of this knife. Compared to the Babyliss knife's handle, this larger one gives Alabas more presence. There's quite a bit of Mr. Kochin's blood on this blade. Thanks to being a prosecutor, I guess I've become accustomed to seeing blood. The handle on this knife was made to be removable. The killer tried to make this look like a Babyliss knife by switching the two handles, which means there must be some reason behind that action. Babel's national symbol is the butterfly, and Alabas is the flower. It would appear that someone is employing the old hide the tree in a forest trick. What are you mumbling to yourself about? Wait, what? The handle on this knife! Ah! Yes, it's the handle that was supposed to be on the blade that killed Mr. Kochin. The weapon that killed him was carried through the Theatrum Neutralis, in the very bouquet Ambassador Alba was carrying. The flower motif. It looks like one of the flower petals is missing. Oh, and take a look at the weapon itself. It's missing the exact same petal. Then the knife in this photo is most definitely the same as the murder weapon. Okay, time to do your special power, Mr. Edgeworth. We know that the counterfeit bills were printed using the embassy's press, but the necessary materials, such as the Babyliss ink and paper, must have been hidden in a secure location. What do you think would have happened if the renovation had begun? Well, he probably had to find a better hiding place or get rid of it all. Right, so we can assume the renovation was the cause of the plate and bills disposal, and the reason Mr. Kochin was killed as the ringleader of the smuggling operation. Based on what we know, who do you think was the one with the most to gain? It's the one person who had been erasing all evidence of the smuggling operation. From both embassies, the co-conspirator was mopping up Ambassador Alba. Ambassador Alba had a very strong motive to kill Manny Kochin. The cause of Ambassador Alba's agitation, the rotten treasure we may find, and the motive for killing Mr. Kochin. Miss Yu said it herself, she didn't kill anyone tonight. If we were to take her words at face value, then the reason for the ambassador's nervousness can only be one thing. He didn't want us to discover the real circumstances under which Mr. Kochin was killed. Then you mean Ambassador Alba's the real killer? But I thought the two of them were friends. Maybe they were, but what if Mr. Kochin was the one who first betrayed their friendship? Oh, I get it. Wasn't Mr. Kochin pushing really hard for Mr. Paleno to be ambassador after the reunification? Yes, and that was the real reason why he wanted to steal Alabast's Primaduck's statue. So Mr. Kochin hired Damask II to go steal it for him. When Ambassador Alba found out what he was up to, he killed Mr. Kochin. It's definitely a possibility at this point. Those two really were thinking of no one but themselves. The question is now is, how did he do it? Ambassador Alba was an Alabast, but Mr. Kochin's body was discovered in Babel, right? Right, and that is what we must solve next. I believe we now understand why Ambassador Alba was so nervous and agitated. It must have something to do with where Mr. Kochin was killed. A place where the Alabastian ambassador was likely to meet the Babelese Mr. Kochin. The place where Ambassador Alba happened to have committed the murder is...
Take that!
The only place that makes sense here, at the Theatrum Neutralis. What? Here? The Goodwill event was being held here today, correct? So the only place that both of them would have been in is here. But if that's the case, then everything changes. The theater isn't actually Alabastian land. So that wipes out one of those extraterritorial rights he has. It makes logical sense, in which case it is a reason for us to investigate further. So what should we check out? Let's see. I believe we should check the immigration records for both Alabast and Babel post-haste. Babel's records should be easy to obtain, however the problem will be Alabast. I wonder if they would allow us to see their records despite the order to vacate.
Objection!
I'm already one step ahead of you, Miles Edgeworth. Franziska. I have here the security footage from both Alabast and Babel. You would do well to take a look at its contents. You move fast. Avon Karma strives to be perfect in every way. It's not in my nature to keep on retreating like this. I took the liberty of looking over the Babel investigation reports as well. From now on, you'll make no excuse to back down and say we can't solve this case. I'm sorry about earlier. We won't be beaten. Because my cute little subordinate is going to try his very best, isn't he? Hasn't she patronized me enough for a lifetime? So this video contains footage from Alabast's immigration screening area. I really hope there's something in here that we can use. Yeah, Franziska doesn't really know the principle of first name basis. The Iron Infant is so cute. Which minute's footage should I examine? The Steel Samurai looks so silly here. Like, he really does look very fatherly just from this picture that they drew, compared to the picture of him with Alba and Paleno, in which he looks a little goofy. On the outside, he may look like the Steel Samurai, but on the inside, it's just Larry. Other than the fact that it's a good-for-nothing nothing else seems out of order. Wait, you know as well as that anything could happen if he's involved. You're not suggesting someone else could be under that mask, are you? No, I don't think that. Just before he entered here, he gave me an autograph, so I'm certain it's Larry under there. It appears he's inspecting the person coming into the country. Are you kidding? It's more like he's not checking the Steel Samurai. And they gave me such a hard time. There are certain risks involved when you give people preferential treatment. There certainly is a variety of posters on this wall. It's kind of hard to see what's written on them, so they just look festive, you know? Those are all tourism posters for the country, although most of them are of Gatewater Land. I wonder if any Alabastians actually go to Gatewater Land for fun. It's just really hard to imagine them hanging out there. True, they do seem to be a nation of extremely serious people. "5:23 p.m. This is just after the end of the Steel Samurai stage show. And after I'd been given that autograph. You totally had stars in your eyes at the time, Mr. Edgeworth.
I most certainly did not.
You had stars in your eyes because of an autograph you received from that man. Miles Edgeworth, you've just lost any respect I had left for you.
I believe it's time to change the subject.
It's the door connecting to that hallway in this theater. Nothing appears to be out of the ordinary. Indeed. Doesn't something about this lump's shape strike you as odd? Huh? Is it supposed to be the shape?
No, there's clearly something odd about the bulge.
Edgeworth. I just know that when Kieran gets to play this case, he's gonna screenshot this screenshot. Actually, you guys can't see the full sentence, so there you go. Just for you, Kieran. If only we had the pushcard itself, we could compare and confirm my hunch. Let us check the footage from Babel's security camera. I hope it shows us something good. Phooey, there wasn't a single sign of a suspicious person or anything.
That right there is a contradiction.
Huh? Did I miss something?
You didn't miss anything, because there was nothing to miss.
However, what is missing is the image of Mr. Kochin entering his own country. But wasn't his body found in Babel? It would appear that the true face of our final puzzle has finally revealed itself.
Ambassador Alba. I thought I asked for you and your group to vacate the premises, Mr. Edgeworth.
Actually, I thought I should let you know this theater sits on my country's soil.
You've had your fun, and I've enjoyed our little game.
I dare say you even achieved a new high score.
However, once you record a score, that same game can never be replayed again. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Your game is done, and it's game over. No.
Objection!
Where do you think you're going at this time of night?
And after admitting to my crime, I was overcome with regret. So I'm heading to the airport now to return home.
I'm afraid I can't let you do that. There's still too many issues we need to discuss with you.
You can't stop me, Mr. Edgeworth, and you know it.
Ugh. Please, may I have a little bit of your time, Ambassador Alba?
Ambassador Polino!
Even just a teeny tiny bit is fine with me. The already strained relationship between our countries is in a precarious situation, you know.
Very well. If you insist. I'll play just one more round with them and see what they want. Not that they'll get any further.
Ambassador Polino! Mr. Edgeworth, all I wish for is the normalization of relationships between our two countries. But there's one person standing in the way of that dream. I believe in you. You'll do what's right.
Thank you for your vote of confidence. Now then, what was it you wanted to ask me about? I do have a flight to catch, after all. So I'm afraid I'm gonna have to limit you to just one question. That's more than enough, because I only have one question anyway. I want to hear your alibi about how you couldn't have killed Mr. Manny Kochin. Oh, I see. You seem to have a good hand this time around. This should be fun. This really is the very last chance you have to bring him down. I won't allow even an atom-sized contradiction to slip by.
Ambassador Alba's alibi.
Frankly, I still don't understand why I'm being placed under suspicion here. Under your hypothetical scenario, Mr. Kochin and I were fellow smugglers. But to get to the point, I was in Alabasta the whole time. But it's simply not possible for me to have killed him in Babel. That is my alibi.
So that is your alibi.
That is correct. It's simply not possible for me to have committed a crime in Babel. Now that we cleared that up, I'd appreciate it if you would move out of my way.
Hold it!
I said, hold it! What is it this time? I thought I told you I'd only allow one question. You did. But you still have yet to really answer my one question. What? Until you tell us the truth, I will refuse to budge an inch from where I'm standing. Very well, I'll play with you just a little longer. Miles Edgeworth, as my subordinate, and as representative of this country's prosecutors. You are forbidden to lose. Of course, that is something I've understood from the start. That guy's the one who ordered my father killed, isn't he? Yes, I believe so. The goal of the first Yatagrassi was the capture of the smuggling ring's leader. My father and Uncle Bad. Their legacy will live on. Through me. That's why we're gonna catch him, okay? We will. I promise. Now, Ambassador Alba, let's have it the truth now, shall we? No matter how many times you ask, my answer remains the same. Hey Drago, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by today. Ambassador Alba's alibi angles acquittal always. Frankly, I still don't understand why I'm being placed under suspicion here.
Hold it!
Being the leader of a smuggling ring while taking on the duties of ambassadorship. Don't you think the combination is more than enough reason for suspicion? Then there's the matter of the crossbow arrows of the Primadux statues.
Objection!
Oh, that is nothing more than your flights of fancy. What do you mean by that? Under your hypothetical scenario, Mr. Kochin and I were fellow smugglers.
Hold it!
It's not a hypothesis. Earlier we proved it to be what happened. Haha. Well, let's leave that one aside for now. Because it doesn't change the fact I have no motive. Oh, so you really have no motive, or no reason to kill Mr. Kochin. If you want to suppose I had one, then why not? I'll indulge you. After all, there's nothing more than a silly game to me. Even if that's how you see things, I'd appreciate if you take me more seriously. I'm sorry, I suppose you are in a bit of a pickle. Very well, a game is no fun if the playing field isn't level. Therefore, I formally claim I had no motive to kill. Now, let's see you disprove it. How can he stand there looking proud when he knows he killed another human being? Well, I'm not gonna stand by, just watch him get away with his crimes. In that case, what motive would I have to kill my own co-conspirator?
Hold it!
Are you serious that just because you were partners, you had no motive to kill? I'm only following your hypothetical scenario to its logical conclusion. Haha. Looks like he's not going to admit it himself that he was in league with Mr. Kochin. I suppose not. But I do know his relation to the smuggling ring and to Mr. Kochin. You mean he's the ringleader and Mr. Kochin was his subordinate, right? Correct, but I know more than just that. Miss Von Karma, I'm sure you remember the safe in Mr. Kochin's office, correct? Yes. The safe had 2 compartments to it, didn't it? Yes, so why do you think those stolen goods were being stored in Mr. Kochin's office? Could it be because he was trying to cheat Ambassador Alba behind his back? So Mr. Kochin didn't turn the goods over, but decided to instead keep them for himself. I suppose that's possible. It seems to me both men were only concerned with their own wealth and well-being. And that means that maybe they didn't have a trusting relationship after all. What Ambassador Alba had to gain, I believe that is his motive for killing Mr. Kochin. What are you people whispering about amongst yourselves over there? I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. Now then, let's continue with your testimony. To get to the point, I was in Alabast the whole time. What exactly did you do while you were in Alabast? I had a meeting with a steel samurai and I arranged a few files. Around that time, that thief was sneaking in and took me by surprise.
Objection!
Are you saying it was Damask the Second that made the first move? Yes, and it was after I was attacked I hit him on the head with the Primadux statue. Unfortunately, he died for the blow, but it was an act of justified self-defense.
Objection!
Calling it that doesn't cover up what you really did. Haha. Cover up? No, my boy, I'm not covering anything up, I'm telling the truth. You were planning to admit to it, which is why you tried to frame the Steel Samurai. If you weren't an ambassador, I'd be letting my whip fly loose on you right now. I'm terribly sorry that I didn't clean up the body better, but I'm a busy man. I had a speech to give in the Rose Garden after that, you know.
Objection!
Yet despite that, you still had time to kill Mr. Kochin, didn't you? Man is evil, and I'm sure you are familiar with the facts, but Mr. Kochin was killed in Babel while I was all the way in Alabast. Yeah, it sounds like he says, objection! So it's simply not possible for me to have killed him in Babel. That's my alibi. You insist that it's not possible for you to have killed Mr. Kochin in Babel. And you are correct. Oh, I thought you would put up a bit more of a fight, but if you must concede to me. The only thing I'm conceding is not possible for you to kill him in Babel. I'm not conceding your alibi is the truth. Oh, I see. However, no matter how much you try, know that you can't crush my alibi. It would be wise not to underestimate a prosecutor of this country. We'll see about that. So Mr. Kochin was a friend of Ambassador Alba. If that's true, then why did the ambassador kill him? It's not like in the case of my father, where he ordered someone to do it. The problem we have here is we don't know what their exact relationship was. Indeed, if they had complete trust in each other, there's no motive for murder. However, both men were very selfish, and I believe this is where his motive arose.
Objection!
If you want to know, I believe you did have a motive to kill. It was because Mr. Kochin had betrayed you. But you had your own reason too, namely, you wanted to pin the smuggling all on him. Evil begets evil, and because you're trying to test each other, it turned into this mess.
Objection!
I don't believe this. You have a bad penchant for telling tall tales, Mr. Prosecutor. And if you're not, then I suppose you have some proof to support your argument. I never use guesswork in moving my cases forward. It's been proven this note was written by Mr. Kochin's hand. Shall we take a look at it? The content of the note is a request calling for the theft of Alabast's Primadux statue. By killing him and pushing all the guilt for the smuggling on him, you walk away spotless. I believe you understand what I'm driving at. You had more than a few reasons to kill him. Speaking of which, they never really talk about how Damask the 2 broke into the embassy. They keep talking about how no one could have gotten in. But he got in, somehow. It's not really important to the case, but...
Objection!
Are you finished with your hypothesizing? Excuse me? Let's suppose I did have a motive. Even so, a motive or thought alone can't kill. Isn't that right? I didn't expect him to resort to playing the semantics game with me. It appears this is where the real battle will begin. Now then, if you'll excuse me... Wait! What? I told you at the very beginning, didn't I? You only get one question. Ugh! Ambassador Alba, if you could please just give us a little more of your time. It doesn't matter what kind of man he was my subordinate. Which is why I would like for us to figure out the real cause of his death. That is something for Babel to figure out, and something which I have no relation to. Now he's even turning out a request from Ambassador Paleno. I'm very sorry, but it seems even now my voice falls on deaf ears. There's no need for you to apologize, Ambassador Paleno. We must find some way to stop him from leaving. It seems there's no further objections. In that case, please allow me to return home. Hold it right there, Ambassador Alba. Okay. Like I said, Mr. Edgeworth, Yatagarasu's legacy will live on through me. Yes, but how do you suggest we stop him from leaving? You just leave that to me. Ambassador Alba, do you recognize this? No, and why should I recognize that tattered old organizer? Wait, where have I seen that before? There's a clue my father, Burn Faraday, left for us. Did you say Burn Faraday? Mr. Faraday's organizer. Don't tell me this is one for the second KG8 incident. The one in which he wrote about the Yatagarasu's key. Yes, this organizer belonged to the prosecutor you had Miss Yu kill 7 years ago. Huh, I have no idea what you're talking about. You say that like it was related to me. Inside this organizer, he wrote up every detail of every evil thing you did. What an amusing little girl you are. But that sort of trickery won't work on me. If you won't believe me, take a look at this. And what is that toy there? That's... This theory device was used by the Yatagarasu, or rather, by my father. 7 years ago, he used this when he snuck into the embassy. What? These 2 pieces of evidence that hold information the Yatagarasu dug up on you. If you go home now, I won't hesitate to send it all to Alabast, right behind you. Little girl, get to the point. I want you to go up against Mr. Edgeworth one more time. If you win, I'll hand over these 2 pieces of evidence. Yatagarasu, ever the thorn in my side. Okay, does that organizer really contain any information on his dirty dealings? It's nothing case-breaking, really. Ah, it was just a bluff. Even if it was, we still can't let all the info my father and Uncle Bad found go to waste. Plus, just the existence of Little Thief is troublesome enough for him. Those 2 pieces, aren't they keepsakes of your father? It's okay. I believe in Mr. Edgeworth. He'll come out on top in the end. Okay. When the going gets tough, someone's gotta be there to put the wind in your sails. After all this time, you're still quite the feisty one. I applaud your powerful nature. I refuse to lose this too. Ambassador Alba, you won't be returning home until you give us further testimony. How dare you all, barring a person like me. Ambassador Alba, your testimony, if you please. Ugh. Alright, but this is the absolute last. Then, even if you use all the power of Ambassador Paleto's office, you won't stop me. I can't let this opportunity K created for me to go to waste. Hey Lork, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by today. Yeah, everywhere K goes, there's like a draft to make her scarf blow around. Alba's Alibi, Part 2. The last time I met with Mr. Cochin was here at Theatrum Neutralis. After that, I was at Alabast the rest of the time, as I stated earlier. In any case, I did not see Mr. Cochin again after that. So you see, there's no time span in which I could have killed him. Wouldn't you agree? Now, since you people were practically begging, I'll allow you to question me. What an arrogant old man. Yes, but no matter. We can't allow this chance to escape us. I will warn you, though. You've reached the end of my patience. Waste my time with any inane questions and you'll be punished. So any needless pressing or presenting will hurt our case. In that case, the only thing you can do is present the correct evidence. Understood. Of course, I don't intend to let him intimidate me. I know Mr. Cochin was killed before he returned to Babel. In which case, there's only one statement to which I need to present the evidence. Yeah, Kay brings a little portable fan with her everywhere called Littler Thief. I kind of like it when they tell me I don't need to press and just present, because then I don't need to go through all the waffling of, you know, reading all the extra dialogue.
I'd like you to take a look at this picture. It's a rather nice picture, isn't it? I was to commemorate the restoration of relations between our nations. Oh, it's commemorative, alright. One that captures the proof I need to show it was you who committed the murder. And come again. This is the knife that killed Mr. Kochin. Ugh! I see you recognize it as well, as you should, for it was you who brought it to the theater. You hidden it among the flowers you were to give to Steel Samurai, meaning you killed Manny Kochin here at the theater. It's time for me to catch my flight.
Objection!
We're not through yet.
Objection!
It's game over for you, Mr. Edgeworth. But I thank you for the entertainment. Ugh. No matter how passionately you orate, the end result will still be the same. I won't be returning to this country ever again. That's right. This man is an ambassador, and he has extraterritorial rights. No matter how hard we chase after him, we won't be able to have him tried in court. Yes, that's exactly the face you should be making. The face of a worthless cur. You love his talk to the hand animation. Alba is such a good antagonist for this game. No! Although I think it's a combination of him and Callisto U, because I think the idea of having like a, you know, a character that you've known for a couple cases turn out to be an antagonist in addition to the big bad is pretty good. Having both of them works very well. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, I must bid you farewell. The courts. Is there no one who can lay a finger on this man? Is this really the end?
Not so fast!
Agent Lang! Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Prosecutor. Get out of my way. My plane is scheduled to take off soon. Sorry, but you're not going anywhere, Mr. Alba. I'm through playing games with you people. Talk to the hand. You can't touch me. If you do, it would spark an international incident, Agent Lang. Sorry, but no. It wouldn't. What? Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Good job holding the fort down here until I got back. So, Mr. Alba, your diplomatic immunity has just been revoked. What do you mean, revoked? Spare me this nonsense, and let me through.
Not so fast!
Lang Zi says, before aiming for the throat, chew the neck shield off first. Interpol headquarters in the Imperial household of the Kingdom of Alabast. Took a while to get things rolling, but they finally moved on it. The Imperial household? You, what have you done? You've been relieved of your duties as ambassador, Mr. Alba. What? 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 Effective today, effective right now. And you have Mr. Prosecutor's videotape to thank for this. The video the Aragarasu protected. You can't be arrested simply because you're an ambassador. In that case, I thought I'd strip you of that title. You underestimated me, a descendant of the founder of detainment philosophy Lang Zi. 4,000 years of deeply entrenched connections and networks around the world. It really paid off. It can't be, I don't believe this. My ambassadorship has been revoked. Ha! Looks like you're finally coming to grips with your new standing. Woohoo! It looks like he turned docile again. He's probably in shock from the loss of his shield. What a shame. I had so wanted to use my whip on him. Why is this happening to me? I'm just a hard-working, honest ambassador.
Not so fast!
You really think you can still pull that on us now? We've already ripped away the mask and seen you for who you really are, Mr. Alba.
Objection!
No, I won't be stopped now. He still intends to fight us. So what if I'm no longer an ambassador? You still don't have any evidence on me. The fact remains you cannot arrest me. I'd expect no less from you, the boss of the smuggling ring. Well, the rest is up to you, Mr. Prosecutor. Understood. You say I killed Mr. Kochin in the theater. Even if it's true there was a knife in my bouquet. I left that bouquet in the theater. So anyone could have taken out from there and used it, right? Besides, the claim he was killed here itself is odd. After all, wasn't his body discovered in Babel? Are you claiming I carried his body all the way over there? Preposterous.
Objection!
I'll be the one to prove whether it's preposterous or not. Ugh. Ex-Ambassador Alba, are you ready? Because this is no game. This is war. Alba's Alibi, Part 3. I killed Mr. Kochin in this theater using a knife that was stuck in my bouquet. I left that bouquet in the theater. Anyone could have taken the knife from there. Besides, Mr. Kochin's body was discovered in Babel, right? There's no way for me to have transported his body from the theater to Babel. Look, don't you think you've had enough fun with me? You've already stolen my ambassadorship from me. Would you have me surrender too?
Not so fast!
You have no plans to ever return to this country, isn't that right? Did you know that a bunch of your subordinates are seeking asylum because of you? Haha, as if I care. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, boot this guy out of the embassy and we can finally end everything. I know, and I'll give it my all to see he leaves in handcuffs. Without the title of ambassador, he's just another witness. Yes, just another witness. Alright, what are we waiting for? Let's get this guy. And get him good. I wonder if they understand that all I can do is present evidence to the testimony. I killed Mr. Kochin in this theater using a knife that was stuck in my bouquet.
Hold it!
That's right. As I explained earlier, the commemorative photo shows you had the knife on your personage.
Objection!
You have no proof that the bouquet was prepared by me, isn't that right? Excuse me? The fact that there was a knife in the bouquet was something I wasn't aware of.
Not so fast!
What a pathetic excuse! The weapon that was used is one of your national treasures. It isn't exactly something anyone other than you could touch, let alone take. I allowed some of my trusted subordinates to handle them. It could have been my secretary. You're an even bigger slime ball than I thought. You would push the guilt of Mr. Kochin's murder onto one of your subordinates. In any case, the fact that the knife was in the bouquet means nothing. Yeah, he's really using the "it wasn't my knife" defense. I left that bouquet in the theater. Anyone could have taken the knife from there. You still wish to deny your actions. And you still wish to deny reality and accuse me of murder. What? I'm not in denial. Even though he's not an ambassador anymore, he's still got a real bad attitude. I believe it's because he's no longer an ambassador, he can let himself speak freely. Well, if he's not holding anything back, then neither should I. Wait! For the sake of the case, please refrain from what I think you're about to do. Quite the pair of frightening women you are, but I digress. Besides, Mr. Kochin's body was discovered in Babel, right?
Hold it!
Even if he was found in Babel, he was killed somewhere else.
Objection!
Stop bluffing, because you can't prove what you're claiming. If this was a court-martial in my country, you'd have already been removed from the room. Are you taunting us on purpose? Because I'd be happy to show you my claws.
Hold it!
Hold on, Agent Lang. Allow me to fight him my way, with evidence. Haha, I was just joking. I'm not so easily ruffled by the likes of him. To
Too bad! Though I'm no longer an ambassador, it still could have been an international incident. If you have the will to threaten us with that mouth of yours, then perhaps you could use it to return to the testimony. Very well, but to be fair, you should watch what you say as well. There's no way for me to have transported his body from the theater to Babel.
Hold it!
Is that really so? You could have easily blackmailed your subordinates to be quiet and move the body.
Objection!
That's quite an insult to me and my subordinates. I'm afraid we can't have that. It's very difficult to enter my embassy as the guards always conduct a thorough check. If someone so much as makes an unnatural movement, I will arouse their suspicions. Come to think of it, there wasn't anything unnatural about him in the footage. Wait. Let me think about that for a second. Mr. Alba said the guard would become suspicious if someone acted unnaturally. Then, by the same token, the guard would not become suspicious if someone were to act naturally. If we retrace Mr. Alba's movements, we should find some hint to solving this case. Well, after the Steel Samurai stage show, he went back to Alabast, right? From there, he started preparing for his speech in Alabastian embassy. It does sound like it wasn't possible for him to have gone to the Babylese embassy. He couldn't have gone to Babel, but the body didn't remain at the theater either. Is it possible the body was temporarily taken to a different location first? Yeah. Allow me to fight him my way with evidence. I'll just stab him with his knife!
Objection!
Actually, I do believe there was a way to transfer the body out of the theater. Perhaps you should give this a look. What is that supposed to be? It's footage from a security camera that captured the state of the immigration area. Should I congratulate you on getting your hands on it? Just letting you know we're not the only ones watching every movement. Thank you for the warning. Yeah, if there's anything I learned from Ace Attorney, it's that bodies never stay in one place for very long. Now, if you could take a good look at this section here. This lump here inside the pushcart. Do you know what's causing it? Should I? Because I don't. In that case, allow me to enlighten you. This is the cause of the unnatural lump under the cloth in the pushcart.
Take that!
What is the meaning of showing me that? It's to say the unnatural bulge in the pushcart is Mr. Kochin's body. You had the Steel Samurai wheel his body away from the real crime scene. What a guess. I wonder if you have any evidence to support it. I admit for now it is but a hypothesis, however... If you can't prove it, I'm afraid I must be on my way. I don't have any more time to play with you people. Sorry I took so long, Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Yummy! Yeah, there's the bulge because the Steel Samurai was happy to see me. Detective Gumshoe, is that the Steel Samurai's pushcart? Yes, sir! I found it in the open-air stage area! So that's where you went. The detective spirit that Pops left me with. I thought I'd follow my gut and go with it, sir! So, Mr. Edgeworth, is this worth anything to the case? Yes. It just might play a major role in solving this case, detective. Something isn't right. I thought that the entire samurai family was in Alabast. Where exactly in the open-air stage area did you find this pushcart? I just found it lying there at the edge of the stage, sir. Oh, well, let's leave that for now and examine the inside, detective. Yeah, it's each of our partners are bringing something to help. Like Francisca, Kay, Lang, Gumshoe. We all need to dogpile on this Alba guy. Yes, sir. Steel Samurai Daddy uses pushcart to wheel the Iron Infant around.
The Iron Infant is the Steel Samurai's and the Pink Princess's kid, right?
Yes, he made an appearance at the end of the stage show. It was a rather fitting ending to the whole thing. That the Steel Samurai was unwittingly forced to move the body is just unforgivable. It's blood! This must be Mr. Kochin's blood, which only goes to prove Mr. Kochin's body was indeed transported by this pushcart. I believe you understand what this means, correct? You killed Mr. Kochin at the theater and placed his body inside the pushcart. And then you forced the Steel Samurai to unwittingly move the body for you.
Objection!
I forced him to move the body into Alabast. What nonsense! Why would I bother to do such a thing?
Objection!
You were scheduled to make a speech in Alabast, meaning it was difficult for you to make a stop in Babel. However, what if you move the body to Alabast? Because it was your embassy, you can keep an eye on it and tamper with the evidence. Then you smuggle it out of Alabast. No! If I can show you how you move the body from Alabast to Babel, then I win. But you can't! The security between the two countries is incredibly tight. I'll be the one to judge whether I can or cannot prove it. So I ask you provide us with testimony regarding your movements after your return to Alabast. Ugh. Miles Edgeworth, have you figured it out? Did you know how the body was moved? To be honest, I have nothing to support my hypothesis at this time. However, I don't believe I made a mistake in my logic up to this point. Which means there's no question that can't be answered, right? The Permanux statue was smuggled successfully through a brief flight through the air. So why shouldn't there be an answer as to how the body was moved? Which means there must be a logic flaw somewhere I can exploit. Movements in Alabast. After I returned to Alabast, I had my picture taken with a Steel Samurai shaking hands. Then, just as I was about to start my speech, the Yatagarasu appeared. I feared for the national treasure, so I raced back to my office. Is that all? Yes, that's all.
Objection!
It looks like you left out a few things. Such as the murder of Damask II. Furthermore, you left out the part about meeting with me in your office. Ah, those trifling matters. I don't believe I need to speak of those things again. So I do hate to waste time. What? You. Is not every life precious? Do you really need me to answer that for you?
Objection!
People like you cannot be allowed to wander freely through society. Then you'd better try hard because I doubt you'll find a single contradiction. He's really full of himself, isn't he? Yes, he is. How could he be so confident at a time like this? Ha! Come, don't be shy. Go ahead and ask what you like. After I returned to Alabast, I had my picture taken with a Steel Samurai shaking hands.
Hold it!
So why was it only with the Steel Samurai? I thought the Pink Princess was also around. The Pink Princess was suffering from a bad hip at the time, and the doctors recommended she rest. Wow, so you do have a soft side after all. The pain of a bad hip. I suppose none of you can really understand how it feels. Oh, so you tend to strain your back as well, huh? But isn't that just because you're normally all hunched over? You did need to keep up the act no matter what, I suppose. The point of this is not to discuss my back problems. For about 15 minutes after our handshake, I was in my office preparing for the speech. Then, just as I was about to start my speech, the Yatagarasu appeared.
Hold it!
The Yatagarasu was just a trick you set up. Haha, a most amusing joke. And how do you propose I set it up? If you really want to know, I can explain in detail for you. You arranged the spotlights in the rose garden, so when you were about to take the stage, the audience would see the Yatagarasu's shadow. Oh, that is an interesting tale. sadly has nothing to do with me. You, what's it gonna take for you to fess up to anything? Ugh. Very well then, let's move on to a different question. After the Yatagarasu appeared, what was the state of the Rose Garden? Everyone took refuge inside the embassy. I even helped with the effort. And then once everyone was inside, well... I feared for the national treasure, so I raced back to my office.
Hold it!
And what happened after you returned to your office? I don't want to keep on repeating this, however. Upon my return, I had the stroke of bad luck and bumped into Mask Man.
Objection!
And I don't want to keep on repeating this, either. But his name was Damask II. Who cares what he was called? By the time he got to the Primiduck statue that he was supposed to steal, it had already been swapped for the fake. Talk about an unlucky man, being bludgeoned to death with a fake statue. Miss Von Karma's really letting her whip fly now. I think the scary part is her silence when she's doing it. She must be at the limit of her patience as well. Physical attacks are meaningless here. Only evidence will suffice. Ugh. I can't find a single flaw in his argument. At this rate, I won't be able to prove that he's actually guilty of anything. Are we finished here? Miles Edgeworth, can you not come up with how the body was moved to Babel? Sir! Mr. Edgeworth! Even after proving so much, is he gonna get away with it? Is this the end? It appears we made it just in time. It would be a great honor if you would allow us to be your allies in battle. I love how he's holding up the Iron Infant on the ground. Evil Magistrate, it's time for you to pay! Whoa, the Iron Infant's actually really big. Yeah, how to pick up a child, yes? No. I love that meme. It's the Steel Samurai! No, you're mistaken, for I am Steel Samurai Daddy, married man of Neo Old Tokyo. And this is Pink Princess Mommy. Iron Infant looks more like Iron Toddler. Edgy Poo! No! The two people I want to see the least. Larry! What are you two doing here? Way to show your gratitude, Edgy. We just want to help, yeesh. I'm gonna get the bad guy with a single thrust of my samurai spear. Go away! I thought he just goes, go away! Hey Cowd, welcome to the stream, thanks for stopping by. How can you be so mean to us, Edgy Poo? All three of us came to lend a hand, and this is how you treat us? Well, isn't this grand? And I see they managed to find the Iron Infant. Does that really matter right now? Hey! Is it just me, or is the Iron Infant completely soaked? It does look really cute though, the Iron Infant does look pretty cute. Oh, yeah! I found him in Babel, but he was in the middle of the pool. Wait a second. Larry, go back to what you just said. Huh? Oh, it appears we made it. Not that far back. Something about finding the Iron Infant in Babel. And he found it in a pool. I don't recall there being one in Babel. Oh, that! Well, I was in Alabasta the whole time. So I had no idea how the Iron Infant wound up in Babel. I thought I lost him in the Rose Garden. But I guess maybe this cute kid can swim, huh? Wait, what? Larry! You lost the Iron Infant in the Rose Garden. Are you sure about that? Yeah, I'm sure. But I found him in...
Hold it!
That's enough, Larry. The Iron Infant that Larry lost managed to move between the two countries. Furthermore, the Iron Infant was found soaked in the middle of a pool. Is this what I've been looking for? It's another smuggling route between the countries. The key to the route the Iron Infant took to travel from Alabasta to Babel is... counterfeiting. This is a counterfeit Iron Infant. Bilateral symmetry. Ah, that's right. This embassy was built with bilateral symmetry in mind. Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, sir.
There's a location I wish for you to examine post-haste. It's where I believe the route used to smuggle Mr. Kochin's body lies.
Does that something like that really exist, sir?
An embassy built on bilateral symmetry, meaning this is where we need to examine.
I guess like right here?
Take that!
Yes, sir! I'll be back before you know it. It's too late. It doesn't matter now what you do. It is all a waste of time.
Knock him back!
You will stay here with us and wait. This is Edgeworth. It'd be so funny if his phone rang and it was like the Steel Samurai theme. Like in some of the other games, when they have the phones ring and they do the Steel Samurai jingle.
Mr. Edgeworth, it's here, sir. There's a reservoir here, just like in the Rose Garden.
He didn't even say goodbye, he just hung up on him. Just as I suspected. What is it? The two sides of this embassy are mirror images of each other, which means there's also a pool at the corresponding location on the Babelese side. Mr. Kochin's body was moved into Babel through the pool in Alabast.
Objection!
Avoiding the topic with a vague answer is like that is unbecoming of a prosecutor. If you don't mind, I'd like to see more physical proof if you have any. The Iron Infant is possibly soaked in water. Why do you think that is? It's because he was fished out of a pool, and not just any pool. It was the Babelese one. I think it's pretty obvious at this point what must be true. The water reservoirs in both courtyards are connected.
Objection!
And where's your proof the two sides are connected?
Objection!
The proof is right there before your eyes. The half-drowned Iron Infant. What? That blasted doll!
Mr. Edgeworth, I'm back. Hey. Don't tell me. You guys figured everything out without me.
We did, thanks to the hero of Justice's son. Even if he's just a doll, he managed to help foil the villain.
Knock him back!
Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Look, I don't want to say this. It's kind of unlikely the body just happened to have passed through the route to Babel. This guy's a doll, and he's small, so I could believe it made it, but... He has a point. Yes, that's right. I'm glad someone here understands. Mr. Edgeworth, are you going to next propose a dead body can swim through a pipe? You see, Mr. Prosecutor, our chase after this man is far from over. Agent Lang. Why is he helping Mr. Alba now? He's not. He realized the flaw in my argument and is helping to move the logic along. In which case, I should return the favor and find an answer. And another thing, Mr. Kochin's body was found in his office in Babel. So what happened to his body after it was transported to the open-air stage? Mr. Alba had an accomplice in Babel, remember? You mean Sheena, right? With her there, you can see how it's possible to move the body up to the office. Are you seriously claiming she swam through the connecting pipe with the body? He's right. Machina would drown if she did that. It's hard to imagine that she swam through the connecting pipe. It looks like your hypothesis about how the body was moved is still only half-baked. In the end, it's all just the befuddled musings of an accusatory man. Now then, I believe you should give up and allow me passage. Because from the start, there was no feasible method of transporting the body. What? Mr. Prosecutor, recall Sheena's movements. What was happening in the embassies around the time Miss Sheena was in Babel? Oh, if only there was a way to get rid of the water in the pool. Get rid of the water. Aha! That's it! Now I believe this time we really are done right.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, it's far from over, Mr. Alba. You are a most persistent man. Are you saying you've thought of a way to move the body through the water? Move the body through the water? That is completely unrelated to how it was done. Excuse me. The reason I say that is because there wasn't any water there at the time. What do you mean, there wasn't any water? It's what it sounds like. Tonight's events made it possible to drain the water, allowing the body to be moved.
Take that!
Tonight, the Yatagrasu set fire to a variety of locations at the Babelese embassy. In order to put the fires out, much of the reservoir's water was used. Of course, when the water was used, the reservoir's water level went down. If enough water was drained, the connecting pipe could be used to traverse the border.
Objection!
So what? The water level went down, the reservoirs were connected. Does any of this matter? You can't prove any of this. Pretending to be ignorant won't work with me. We both know what kind of situation we're in right now. Even in the game, there comes a critical game-changing moment. A moment in which you hit a wall that you must overcome in order to beat the game. I haven't lost yet. I found the route you used to smuggle the body, and that route will lead to your defeat.
Not so fast!
Even if all the waters were used by the firefighting effort, you still can't really call that a smuggling route. I know that. Ha! I should have figured out you would notice. Hey, Mr. Alba, how deep are those pools anyway? I'll have you know those pools are extremely deep. There's no ladders or footholds along the walls either. It'd be difficult for Sheena to hold the body and climb out of the pool. Ladders or footholds along the walls? There was no need for such things. What do you mean? If one were to use a certain something, they could go up or down the pool at will. Oh, it looks like you got an answer already. Well, what are you waiting for, Mr. Prosecutor? Enlighten us already. The way in which Miss Sheena and the body were able to rise to ground level. If there was a way to control the water level, that could be the way the body was moved. This was used so the body and Miss Sheena could move up or down in the pool.
Take that!
Mr. Alba used the fountain spouts in a matter of speaking. He used the fountain spouts? How so? The water level in the pools can be controlled by opening and closing the spouts. Machine and the body were lifted upward by their buoyancy in water. yeah, so they got this big straw, and they started sucking really hard. The fire on the Babelese side and the firefighting effort. These were set in motion all for the sake of smuggling Mr. Kochin's body. Urgh. Shall I show you where the final destination of my train of thought leads? First, Mr. Alba closed the fountain spouts in advance in preparation of things to come. Then he took the push cart that was brought to the Rose Garden and pushed it along with the Iron Infant and Mr. Kochin's body into the pool. At the time, Machina was busy conveniently starting the first fire in Babel. She then made for the open-air stage's pool to wait for the firefighting effort to begin. When the firefighters used the water in that pool, the water level went down. By the time the fire was put out, the pipe between the two pools was exposed. This is when she pushed the pushcart from Alabas into Babel. Once that was accomplished, Mr. Alba simply opened the fountain spouts once more. And the water level rose up to its original level, along with Machina and the body. After that, Machina used the pushcart to carry the body up to the Secretariat's office. There's an elevator in the embassy after all, so you see. Even with her small frame, she could have easily transported Mr. Kochin's body. And that wraps up my thorough explanation of how the body was moved. Gah. Right, because remember Gumshoe said the elevator was occupied at the moment. No! Well, ex-Ambassador Alba, what do you think? Alba just wanted to recreate one of those Zelda puzzles in real life. Ah yes, the water temple. Everyone loves the water temple, right? Not so untouchable without your precious extraterritorial rights to protect you, are you? I knew you could do it, Mr. Edgeworth. Way to fight back.
Objection!
You accuse me of moving the body across country lines. When you get down to the nitty-gritty, you don't have what it takes to indict me. The nitty-gritty? What does the old man want to know? Proof. I believe what he seeks. Yes, proof. Without any, who's to say whether or not any of what you said really happened? He wants proof? What are you gonna do, Mr. Edgeworth? There's no need to worry. I've had all the proof we need all along. The body wasn't the only thing to go through the pools connecting the pipe tonight. Just as Detective Gumshoe found the pushcart in the open-air stage area, so too did I find one other item there. And that piece of evidence is what will prove the pools were the smuggling route. This was another thing that was smuggled over to Babel's open-air stage area. You know, the interesting thing about this pic, when Gumshoe picked it up and gave it to me, is like, oh, it's still wet. But it's a pretty small pick, right? And it's made of plastic, presumably. So if he put it in his pocket, or if he had it in his hand, it should probably dry pretty quickly. There's no way it's still wet now. I know what they're getting at. I just think it's kind of funny.
Take that!
And what exactly is this? You have no idea, do you? This little piece I found on the Babelese side will be your undoing. A guitar pick? Would you care to explain how that is going to do me in, as it were? Much to your chagrin, perhaps, this is not a guitar pick. What? This is something I found at the open-air stage, which was transported with the body. I naturally assumed that you would recognize it, since you took a photo with it, after all. Since you don't, allow me to show you what this fragment of the stage area belongs to. Yeah, take a shot every time Alba asks for proof or evidence.
Take that!
Let us take a good look at the murder weapon that was used to kill Mr. Manny Kochin. On the handle of this knife, there's a beautifully blooming flower. However, it would appear it's missing a single petal. Ugh. Now, let's see what happens when we try to fit this pick in that open slot. It's a perfect fit! I assume the petal must have fallen off the flower during Mr. Kochin's murder, and it was accidentally placed into the pushcart along with Mr. Kochin's body. That's an interesting story, nothing more. Oh, I assure you, it's more than just a story. Because for some odd reason, this flower petal was wet when I found it. It was wet, you say? Yes, and the only place it could have gotten wet is from the open-air stage's pool. Now I ask you, how did a part of the weapon, which was smuggled into the theater, wound up in the open-air stage out on the Babelese side of the embassy? I don't think I need to waste any words explaining this, as this petal explains it all for me. It proves that someone went from the Rose Gardens pool on through to Babel. Impossible! The people of Zangfa have been waiting to see you face to face, Mr. Alba. I'll tell everyone back home we'll be there soon. You should be happy.
Why? Why? It's a little late to be asking that question. You should have known from the very beginning, when you took your first life. No matter how you may plot or how you may try to cover it up, you can never hide from the crime and what you've done. Because we're here to see to it that justice is served to people like you.
Objection!
You can't call what you've given a perfect argument. You know, I don't think this guy is gonna ever admit to his wrongdoings, Mr. Edgeworth. Besides, we also haven't heard the Presto theme play yet. Because he values himself above all else. People who can't be negotiated with, or people who refuse to admit when they've lost. I don't believe those kinds of people really exist because everyone breaks eventually. You're right. In that case, I have no choice but to use all the evidence I have. I'll use it all until he breaks under the weight of his crimes. Mr. Alba, I request you testify once more. This really will be the end of the line. To be continued! As you can see, this section, like, we've been playing for over 2.5 hours now, and it's literally just been cross-examining Alba this whole time. He's a tough cookie. Oh, I have a funny story to tell. So when you start streaming on Twitch, right, and you write the title of your stream, you also need to select the game that you're streaming, right? So you start typing the game, and it will try to auto-complete it, and you have to pick it from a menu. So I start typing Ace Attorney Investigations. Sometimes it's a little tricky if it's a remake, because sometimes they have the remake, but they don't have the original, or they have the original but not the remake. Sometimes they even put them both under the same name, and then you have to figure out from the pictures which one's which. But then one of the pictures might have like a placeholder image, like a Twitch symbol, and the other one might have a real image. All I'm saying is sometimes it's hard to pick out the game properly. And YouTube does a similar thing, but they work separately. So when I started playing this game, and I was typing in Ace Attorney Investigations as my title, it starts to auto-complete it, and the only 3 things came up. Ace Attorney Investigations, Miles Edgeworth, and Ace Attorney Investigations 2, Prosecutor's Gambit. And you're like, okay, that makes sense, right? First game, second game. So you would assume the third option on the menu would be Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, right? Wrong. It wasn't. It was another game. It was a game called Ace Attorney Investigations 0, Kirkus Alba Dating Simulator. Just let that sink in for a second. Ace Attorney Investigations 0, Kirkus Alba Dating Simulator. Now, obviously, there are fan games out there all over the place, right? That makes sense to me. But Twitch gets their list. Twitch doesn't make their own game list. They actually take the game list from the Internet Video Game Database, which is a separate website. They just import their database. Which means, okay, even if this is a fan base, somehow this fan-made game, I'm assuming, I have not looked it up, has somehow gotten into the Internet Video Game Database and accepted as an official entry that Twitch could use for a streamer to put on stream. It doesn't show up on YouTube's system. If you search this game on YouTube, YouTube does have Ace Attorney Investigations Collection and Ace Attorney Investigations 1 and 2 separately. But I'm baffled about 2 things. One, I'm baffled that the Kirkus Alba Dating Simulator appears on the list. 2, I'm also baffled someone took the time to make this game. Someone took the time to make Kirkus Alba Dating Simulator. It was not Zilong Lang Dating Simulator. It was not Dick Gumshoe Dating Simulator. It was not Larry Butts Dating Simulator. It was Kirkus Alba Dating Simulator. I'm very curious, but I don't really want to look too much into it. Anyways, I thought that was just kind of funny. And I couldn't really talk about it until now. Oh, you found the description? Okay, let's read this. 10 years before the events of Ace Attorney Investigations, Miles Edgeworth, the story follows protagonist, a podiatry student at Alabas Academy, as he falls in love on first sight with the impenetrable Ambassador Kirkus Alba and becomes involved in an incident that would forever scar the school. Why is he a podiatry student? Next stream game, guys? Next stream game?
Actually, that might be a good April Fool's game. My only problem with it is that by making it a Kirkus Alba simulator, there's probably a high chance there's going to be spoilers for this game in it, just for including Kirkus Alba and presumably his non-hunched over form. Maybe I'll look into it. That might be a good April Fool's game. I just can't believe it exists. And that someone... Apparently that also means that someone streamed it at some point in time, right? If it's on the list, and it has like... Because, you know, you can have... When you search a list on YouTube, on Twitch, it tells you how many viewers have it on their follow list. And I think it's a non-zero number, which means that someone has that game on their... I'm going to make someone's day. When I stream that, they're going to get a notification on their phone, and they're going to be like, oh my god, someone's actually playing this. It has 19 followers. I'm going to make 19 people very happy on April 1st. What a weird rabbit hole. Okay, let's go back to our Kirkus Alba accusing simulator, I guess you can call it. Man, it's 3:33 a.m. They have been at this embassy for so long. Everyone's probably dead tired. March 15th, 3:33 a.m. Theatrum Neutralis, lobby. Mr. Alba, I request you testify once more. As if there's anything else for me to testify about. I still have yet to fully prove that it was Mr. Alba who murdered Mr. Kochen. Well, I'd like to hear about your movements before the murder occurred. I wonder if you could tell us about what you did here at the Theatrum Neutralis. Very well, I suppose I could tell you about that. Because all I did was watch the Steel Samurai stage show. Elaborating on even that alone is good enough for me. The only way for me to place this man under arrest is to pinpoint the exact location of where the murder took place, for that is the key of this investigation. The Steel Samurai show. I watched from the last row. The stage was well lit, but it was dark out in the audience. I swear I was there in the audience, but it's hard to prove that, I suppose. I do remember the content of the show very well, though. Is that proof enough for you? Those moving scenes were seared into this old man's heart. I'll never forget them. So you were in the theater proper watching the Steel Samurai stage show, were you? Of course I was. I have a great fondness for the Steel Samurai. Yeah, I was pretty cool up there, wasn't I? You're not one who was cool. It's the Steel Samurai who's cool. Yeah, the Steel Samurai's special finishing move today was really something, huh? The screenshots from the Alba game look wild. I've actually not looked them up. I probably should have. Hey, Edgy! Who is she? Who is this super cute girl? Larry, no, she's underage. She's been standing here the whole time and only now he notices her? Her name is Kay Faraday, and she's been helping me in my investigation. Sorry I didn't get to introduce myself earlier, but better late than never. Hey, it's okay! I'm Larry Buds! Silence in the peanut gallery. There's no time for such trivialities at this time. Mr. Prosecutor, this is the final battle, you got that? I know. This is the end. For that man there. Haha! Now that's the kind of thing I like to hear. I think I'll give trusting you a try, Mr. Prosecutor. Or rather, Mr. Edgeworth. I leave this critical battle up to you, Mr. Edgeworth. He said my name! Have no fear. I will finish the job. This really is the endgame. The time has come to expose every last one of Mr. Alba's lies. I watched from the last row. The stage was well lit, but it was dark out in the audience. Last row. I should think an ambassador would have had special seating reserved. I wanted my staff to enjoy the Steel Samurai show as well, so I gave up all the good seats for them. It was enough for me to simply see him. Hey, the Steel Samurai wasn't the only one. Let's not forget the Pink Princess is here. My dear madam, if you continue to thrust about like that, your hip may begin to hurt again. Oh my, well, aren't you the considerate person when you want to be? Old bag, no, he's a murderer. But this beautiful butterfly is on the side of Edgy Poo. So you can spare me the flirtatious come-ons. Wow, he's completely frozen. In frustration, perhaps. I dare say she can be the only one, she could be one rather trying opponent. In any case, Mr. Alba, can you actually prove to us you were watching the show? I swear I was there in the audience, but it's hard to prove that, I suppose. Are you admitting then that you have no way of proving to us you were watching?
Objection!
Quiet! You buzz in my ear like a pesky little fly. If you don't wish to listen quietly until the end of what I have to say, then perhaps you should pack up and get out of my way. Ugh. I see you're willing to be a bit more receptive now. Well, it's true it may be difficult to prove I was out in the audience. I do remember the contents of the show very well, though. Is that proof enough for you?
Hold it!
Well, I remember the contents of the show as well myself. That's nice. That's nice? Miles Edgeworth, don't allow yourself to be riled up by him at this important juncture. I wasn't planning to let him. Well, if you ask me, I think I'm the biggest Steel Samurai expert around here. And did you think the climactic scene of today's show was totally awesome? Yes, I remember that well. And that spectacular special move. The way you delivered the final blow against the evil magistrate. Early summer rain jab. Oh, that scene will live on in my heart forever. Is that how it went? I totally forgot about that. How can you forget your own special moves? That's a special attack the Steel Samurai uses when he's using the Samurai Spear. Yes, and today was the first time they showed it off, was it not? If I hadn't watched the show then, how could I answer you with the name of the move? I suppose you are correct, but if you could, please elaborate on this point for me. One of the scenes was of his never-before-seen early summer rain jab.
Hold it!
Early summer rain jab was a move that was to be unveiled today. And because I saw that brand new special move, I believe it confirms my alibi. How sad. The only way he's got to protect himself is that he watched the Steel Samurai. I guess. This guy really has nothing else left. Yes, and to avoid arrest, you can bet he'll say or do anything. But with all of us here, there'll be no escape for him. Yeah, we'll find a way to bring him to justice. Now then, let us continue with your testimony, Mr. Alba. Very well, the Steel Samurai's special move, and the various other scenes. Those moving scenes were seared into this old man's heart. I will never forget them.
Hold it!
I agree. Today will be a day to remember. Especially when we finally make you pay for all the wrongs you committed. What? Hey, that's what the Steel Samurai says when he defeats the evil magistrate. Actually, that line was just something I ad-libbed. You may act all surprised, but naturally you remember this line, don't you? Of course I do. I just now understand how the evil magistrate felt, that's all. Then allow me to make you identify with the evil magistrate some more. Hey, then that makes you the Steel Samurai, huh? Huh, well, if you had to complete the analogy, I suppose then, yes. And I do believe it's about time to bring the curtains down on this with a bang. Kay and myself were also in the audience of the Steel Samurai stage show. He's got nothing on the Jammin' Ninja, but he was still cool enough, I guess. Wasn't my brand new special finishing move totally rad? No, don't tell me. It was you who thought that up, that special move. Yep. Now what was it again? Extremely silly rain jab. Was that it? No, wait, it was stubble breaking chop. That doesn't sound quite right. How can you forget a move you came up with? The final piece to Mr. Alba's alibi is that he was watching the Steel Samurai show. However, if he was busy killing Mr. Kochin, he should not have time to do so. I love it in so many of the Ace Attorney games we have like a really intimidating killer that's really hard to catch. And you catch him on like a technicality of something that's very silly. Usually like Steel Samurai related or Blue Badger related or like just something that's silly or Larry related. I really like that.
Objection!
The special move today was the early summer rain jab. Is that your final answer?
Objection!
You little irritating nut. Do you think you could trip me by asking the same question over and over? That was not my intention. Your testimony is more than sufficient. However, I believe it would be wise for you to take a look at this. The samurai spear. What about it? The spear actually never made it on stage today. Excuse me? Huh. Unfortunately for you, tonight's Steel Samurai happened to be a goof of a young man with an abundance of useless hot-bloodedness. Having said that, said useless man bent the spear during his rehearsal this evening. Kay, do you remember what the Steel Samurai special move was tonight? It was the Steel Samurai Sushi Slash! Correct. Because he couldn't use the spear, a last-minute change was made. Have you really been watching the show? You would have known the move that was used. Kirkus Alba. You didn't watch a single minute of the Steel Samurai stage show tonight, did you? Ha! So if he wasn't watching the show tonight, then it opens up the possibility he was busy killing Mr. Kochin instead. So where were you during the show? I demand an answer now. Just what is so funny? You're so sloppy, and so are your conclusions. I still insist I watched the show, or most of it in any case. Yeah, Edgeworth really out-nerded an old man for that. What do you mean by most of it? You see, during the show, I left my seat for a spell to visit the bathroom. I assume that was when that dramatic scene was played out on stage. That's the lousiest, lamest excuse I've ever heard in my life, pal! Ugh, just because he got the name of the move wrong. This man's really playing the bathroom card now. He's got everything. We can't really use that as proof he didn't watch the show at all. As a fan of the Steel Samurai, I'd want to watch the entire show. Honest. As a Steel Samurai fan, for someone who wasn't even in his seat for the climax of the show, you have no right to call yourself a Steel Samurai fan ever. Who was that just now? Yeah, he has the power in this case to make the excuse because he's old. How dare he be old? UBI, young lady! Larry, what are you doing interrupting me like that? Edgy, please, hold on for a second, I beg. You may never accept this old man as a Steel Samurai fan, but I totally think he's a Steel Samurai, Samaniac. Steel Samaniac. What a weird word. What exactly is a Steel Samaniac, pal? I believe he meant to say Steel Samurai Maniac. Yeah! And trust me, I know a real fan when I see one, because I'm the Steel Samurai. I will never acknowledge you as a true Steel Samurai. What are you getting so worked up over, Mr. Edgeworth? It appears the real Steel Samurai recognizes me as a fan. As well he should, for I am a fan. It is not as though I missed the entire show. It was the most amazing show filled with the spirit of the young and the young at heart. Huh, the sarcasm dripping from his long wooden nose couldn't run any thicker. Getting the name of the move wrong only proves he didn't watch the last scene. What I really need here is something more definitive. Getting something that links Mr. Alba directly to the murder of Mr. Manny Kochin. You know what, Gramps? You're really something else. I'm honored to receive such praise from the Steel Samurai, but what is it for? Well, I was just wondering how you found out about the early summer rain jab. That move is a bit of a secret that only a small portion of staff know about. Wait, it was a secret. Larry, wait, what did you just say? Did I say something stupid again? Did you just say the early summer rain jab was actually a secret? Well, maybe I shouldn't have said secret. It's more like we only decided on the name of the move right before the start of the show. Right before? Yeah, the stage director was going nuts because we were supposed to debut the move. About 5 minutes before the show, we threw it up on the dressing room's whiteboard. Early summer rain jab, that's kind of how we decided the name of the move. By the time I already bent the spear, so I guess the whole thing was kind of pointless. All of you Steel Samurai actors are the same. The director has my complete sympathy. Long story short, because we changed the move to the sushi slash, we kind of pretended the early summer rain jab didn't exist at all. I mean, it'd be bad if someone found out we changed the move, so we made it a secret. So basically, a gag order was issued for publicity's sake. It almost makes the early summer rain jab sound like a lost art. Yeah, which is why I think most of the staff haven't even heard of the move. Hold those lips of yours still. What the heck, old man? I've done nothing but listen, and from what I can tell, it's all very unrelated to the case. It's all so very tedious and a pointless exercise in wasting time, much like a kid's show.
Objection!
Mr. Alba, I believe the one who should be quiet now is you. How dare you? I suspect you've already noticed exactly what the very severe implications are in this man's testimony. Huh, so you're trying to bully me, huh? There are no implications to be read into the behind-the-scenes story of a kid's show. Don't even think about trying to slither your way out of this one, Kirkus Alba. You were the one who said it yourself. The name of the move was Early Summer Rain Jab. But that name was only decided right before the show was about to start. And so, what are you driving at? The name of the movie told us was never used in the show or said aloud. Ugh. Now then, would you care to tell us about how you found the name of that move? Because I can only think of one way you could have known. Kirkus Alba, this is the only way you could have known the name of the special move. You saw it. You knew the name because you saw it. You saw it on the dressing room's whiteboard. Ugh. The staff members who knew were keeping it a secret. So you couldn't have simply gone up to a staff member and asked. Which means that the only other option left is you saw it on the whiteboard. So that means Mr. Alba was in there at some point, right? What's the big deal, sir? I don't see what that means. There's another piece of evidence that has a great deal to do with the dressing room. So we can't afford to let this slide. This is related to both the dressing room and to Mr. Kochin's murder.
Take that!
The pushcart that was used to move the body was right there in the dressing room. During the show, the pushcart awaited its turn to be pushed on stage in the dressing room. And was finally pushed there, along with the Iron Infant in the last scene of the show. The dead body was on the stage. The dead body was on the stage. There's actually quite a few times in Ace Attorney where it ends up that the dead body was in plain sight in a very morbid location, and I actually really like those twists. It's just so dark. Although I won't name those instances because I don't want to spoil you guys if you haven't watched my other VODs. And then right after the show ended, it went into Alabast along with the Steel Samurai. Which means the only time the killer could have placed the body inside the pushcart was when the pushcart was in the dressing room backstage. So basically the killer had to be someone who visited the dressing room during the show. Precisely. Ah! Oh, but wait. What if, and this is just a what if the murder took place right in the dressing room? What do you mean, Kay? I have to admit, she brings up a valid possibility. During the show, the dressing room was supposed to be devoid of people. Slipping up undetected into a private dressing room then would be as simple as pie. The killer must have come up with the idea to move the body with the pushcart then too. Yeah, I really love it when you're playing an Ace Attorney game, or any mystery game really, and then something clicks in your head, like just before they actually reveal it in the game, and you're like, oh my god. And you get that like, epiphany moment, right? It's really satisfying. It's been a while since I found a game that really did that to me, since I've played these games before, but still. Correct, thus making the theater's dressing room the ideal location for the murder of Manny-Kochin. Kirkus Alba, during the show you went down to the dressing room. And I want to know why. Yes. Yes, I was in there. I went into the dressing room. Yeah, it does kind of suck when you figure it out like a few hours before the reveal. Then you're sitting there going like, when are they gonna do it? When are they gonna do it? But when you do it like right before, like just like a little bit before, that's when it's most satisfying. It's like the sweet spot, right? I knew it! I'm placing you under arrest right now, pal! You got that arrest!
Objection!
Not so fast. What is it now? Don't I deserve a chance to explain myself? Explain? What is there to explain? I believe I told you earlier I went to the bathroom. Well, I got lost when I did. Oh no, he's using another old man trick. The I got lost trick. I wanted to ask for directions, but when I opened the dressing room door, no one was inside. That's when I saw the name of the move on the whiteboard. You punk! Still trying to get out of this? Do you really think you can get away at this point? Mr. Edgeworth, isn't there anything you do to stop him? I don't have enough evidence on hand to do anything. I don't have the airtight evidence I need to put this man away for good. If that's what I need, then perhaps... Agent Lang, I believe an investigation of the dressing room in question is in order. It's possible we may find new evidence there. Yeah, if Mr. Edgeworth pokes around in there, I'm sure you'll find new facts, pal. Oh, and if we use Little Thief, we may even learn something from recreation.
Not so fast!
We don't need to do any of that. What? Wolfie? How could you? Wolfie. Actually, now that I'm playing this game again, I'm actually surprised we only used Little Thief like 3 times. Right? We used it twice during the Kidnap Turnabout and only once during Turnabout Ablaze. Which is good, I don't feel they should have overused it, but because, like, you know, Kay is one of the selling points of this game as the sidekick girl, right? I'm a little surprised. I'm also, again, as I'm playing this again, I'm also surprised Lang only really plays a role in Kidnap Turnabout and Turnabout Ablaze. I know he does a cameo in Turnabout Reminiscence, but because I guess this case is so long, it really does feel like he has a presence. And plus the fact they don't even introduce Kay or Lang until episode 3. I'm not saying this to be mean. It's just that we've already searched there. My men really are something else. And they found nothing. There's only one thing I can say to you, sis. It's they found nothing. That's it. I guess you're right. If they found something, they would have reported to us. They couldn't find anything because there was nothing there to find. If there's no info to feed to Little Thief, then I can't do much to help either. Is this the end? The murder took place in the theater, which is not protected under extraterritorial rights. And the fact it was Mr. Alba himself who committed the murder. If I can't prove both statements to be true, Mr. Alba walks away a free man. Is there no other course of action left to us? It would appear your hand of cards has turned to be a puss. Now, if you would excuse me, because of you people, I missed my flight. Now I must make haste to arrange for a new one. What? Who is it this time? Okay, by now you should recognize people's voices in this room to know who said what. Especially when we find out who this is. Hold it right there, you whippersnappers! How can you not recognize my voice, you little whippersnapper? First Larry, now you! I mean, obviously it's because there's no voice clip when people like Larry and Oldbag say the expletives, but still. What is it with that scary mobster-like scowl on your face, Edgy Poo? Don't treat me like I'm some sort of nuisance. I didn't mean to say this, but all of you keep talking about things I don't get at all. You're all leaving this lady in the sad, depressing, lonely dust I'm about to cry in. Why did you have to speak up right at a time like this? Hey, Snorator, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. But you know what, Edgy Boo? Cheer up! Because I'm about to give you the most wonderful thing. The most wonderful thing from you. It's so super special, I couldn't give it away to just anyone, you know? My special present of love to my sweet Edgy Poo. Are you ready? Is this? It's box of those samurai dogs, right? Oh, Edgy Poo, here, go on, eat one and you'll feel right as rain. She really does have the power to stun the room into silence. Are we through here? Why did everyone go quiet all of a sudden? Edgy Poo? Tell me you understand the depths of this lady's love for you. I'm not one to hand out snacks willy-nilly, you know. No, sir. The thought occurred to me that maybe it would be good if I fed you and made sure you were nice and full. One day it's my dream to serve you some of my own homemade food. I mean, isn't it the desire of every woman to make sure that their beloved never goes hungry? And that's what I want to experience. I'll tell you one thing, though. A long time ago, they used to say I'd make a delicious meal. You threw it for me. I was a star in the kitchen. Mr. Edgeworth, can you please do anything about her? There is no power on earth that can force that woman into silence. But I'm so sick and tired of it. All you people do is look down on me. Even this box of samurai dogs played me for a fool. I had a special design on its fan, like the Japanese flag, so I thought it was special. But when I ate one, it tasted just like the rest. Oh, it makes me so mad. Wait, a special box with a Hinomaru-like fan on it. I've never heard of such a piece of merchandise existing before. However, there it is. The red sun on this fan is filled in. Is it possible? Could it be? After the show, the samurai dogs were piled up on the dressing room floor. However, there's no such thing as a Hinomaru dog. This contradiction of facts between something that should not exist and yet does. The rays from this red sun may be just what we needed to point us in the right direction. A present. The studio bigwigs basically told us to play delivery boys. We were supposed to hand the dogs off to the embassy people and tell them hi. I had to pile them all into pushcart just to move them. I believe you understand what this means, correct? You killed Mr. Kochin at the theater and then placed his body inside the pushcart. And then, you forced the Steel Samurai to unwittingly move the body for you. It's time to piece the final pieces of this logic puzzle together. No matter how fragile or small the connections may be, once we found them, all the way to the truth, the way to the truth will be revealed. Allow me to use my superpower you guys keep flaunting. Logic power, activate! The killer used the pushcart to transport the body, which means that they had to remove the samurai dogs from within first. Therefore, the samurai dogs that were piled up on the dressing room floor were most likely taken out of the pushcart by the killer. That which should not exist. This box of samurai dogs with a Hinomaru on it. If this red sun was filled in when the killer was busy removing samurai dogs from the pushcart, then it's proof the murder took place in the dressing room. As long as this red substance turns out to be what I believe it to be. Wendy Oldbag. Oh look, he's calling her by name! How sweet! Well, thank you for the stretch, Danger. Very good call. You guys at home, make sure you sit up straight in your seats and take a little stretch. Be nice to your body. I thank you. Oh! What you have given me is truly something very special. Oh, Edgy Poo! Mr. Edgeworth, are you sure you're feeling okay, sir? Mr. Alba, as I suspected, you killed Mr. Kochin in the dressing room. How many times must I listen to you repeat yourself? Haven't you figured it out yet? Your words are meaningless, worthless, and powerless. The only way I'm going to continue to cooperate is with some definitive evidence. That arrogance, that self-confidence. You believe that you've erased every piece of evidence that could incriminate you. However, there remains one piece here, and is what will put you away for good. Huh, you're bluffing. Oh, hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Sounds like you finally found them. You finally found the fangs we need to go after this guy's jugular. So tell us, what about that box of samurai dogs that's gonna put the old man away? The trace evidence will bring him down. Why, it's here, of course. This part is just the same as the rest of the boxes. But there's one spot in particular on this box that seems off. What exactly is it? This box of samurai dogs with a Hinomaru fan on it. This should never have existed. So I want you to take a good look at this red spot. It's a single drop of blood. Huh? What? Blood, you say? Agent Lang, I'd like this blood analyzed post-haste. I've got to admit, I'm a bit surprised. I can't believe we found blood in a place like this. Hey you, get this down to the lab, pronto. But why was there blood on the box to begin with? If we think about the flow of the crime, I think the reason will become obvious. Larry, you said you transported the samurai dogs with a pushcart, correct? Yeah, you have a great memory, Edgy. That pushcart was a bit too big for my son, you know what I mean? So I made sure everyone could see him. I had to pile some stuff in. I figured the samurai dogs were there, so I used them to fill up the cart. If what Larry says is true, then what were the boxes doing on the floor? Ah, I see. The killer took them out in order to place the body in the pushcart. Exactly. And that is what I believe the victim's blood found its way onto the box. When my men investigated that room, not a single box of samurai dogs was in there. Because embassy staff members had already confiscated them. Yes, no doubt to hide the evidence of the murder. It's a good thing Miss Oldbag managed to steal that one box before they got to them, huh? Looks like Miss Oldbag also managed to put this great thief to shame. What a scandalous way of putting that. I didn't steal it, I received it. Myself. Kirkus Alba, I'd say this is one very fatal oversight on your part. Sorry to rain on your little love fest, however. How could he be so self-confident in a no-win situation for him like this? Even if that blood turns out to be Mr. Kochin, then what? So, Mr. Edgeworth, it sounds like he's not ready to call it quits yet, huh? How many times do I have to do this, old man? Sole piece of evidence that was left at the scene of the crime. That alone has shed light on a new fact. At the very least, we now have proof the murder occurred in the dressing room. And you say that like it means something. Huh? Excuse me, sirs. Again, these forensics guys are so fast when they need to be. And so slow when they don't need to be. Report, what were the results of the analysis? Sir, the analysis came back and confirmed the red substance is blood. I knew it. With this Kirkus Alba. Mr. Edgeworth, I wonder if you might humor my question. Your question? The one from before, or have you forgotten? Even if that is Mr. Kochin's blood, what difference does it make? Like we told you already, it proves the crime scene was the dressing room. But it doesn't prove I'm your killer, does it? It's a very good point. The blood on that box doesn't prove Mr. Alba's the killer. Then, this evidence, it's meaningless. That can't be! We're so close, sir. I want to smack the smug look off his face. Come on, there's gotta be something we could do. We finally found a solid piece of evidence. There must be something I can expose it with. I can't think of a single thing!
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way. Who was that? It's too late. I won't allow anyone to stop me now. It wasn't me, pal. It wasn't me this time either. It wasn't me either. It was me! Why did you? The nameless forensics man! That's why none of you recognize my voice. Because I haven't finished reporting everything to you yet, sir. There's more. What? Hurry up and spit it out. Yes, sir! That blood I mentioned. It's not of the same blood type as the victim's blood. What? No! What? What? What do you mean it's not the same type? You mean it's not the victim's blood? If it isn't his, then who the hell is it? I don't know, sir. All I know, it's not the same blood type as the victim, sir. What should we do now, Mr. Edgeworth? I have no idea what's what anymore. Neither do I. My, what an amusing turn of events. That blood drop proved something to be true, alright. Namely, my words. Which of your words would that be? The ones where I said your words are meaningless, worthless, and powerless. That blood has nothing to do with the murder investigation whatsoever. Need I remind you, the blood got onto that box long before it entered my embassy. What sort of nonsense? Yeah, it's blood, pal! There's no way it's not related to the murder. So you would like to believe. But what if someone preparing the samurai dogs had a small nosebleed? What then? I guess that's plausible. Damn it! Have we been wasting our time on a red herring? The blood doesn't belong to anyone connected to the case. That should be clue enough. Kirostyle, you bastard! Silence! Don't you ever address me with such a filthy word again. I've wasted enough time here with you, and you have your answers. Now let me through. Alba, it doesn't matter where you run off to, you'll never escape me. Someday I'll have the satisfaction of sinking my fangs into you, you'll see. All of Interpol will be behind me, working to see that that day comes. Do you know what your words sound like to me? They sound like the whinings of a pathetic loser of a mutt. Ooh! Is this really the extent of all we can do? Is the blood really from someone completely unrelated to the case? Or is there another possibility? Someone else other than the victim? Just when I thought I had him backed into a corner, it is I who's been backed into one. In a situation like this, what would that man do? What would he do? Or what would he who can turn any desperate situation around do? Turnabout, you might say. Turn it around. No, Edgeworth, it's a turnabout, come on, say it. That's it! I must turn my way of thinking around. It's not whose blood is this. It's whose blood could get onto the box like this. And if I think about it that way, the blood got onto the box when the body was being placed in the pushcart. Then the owner of said blood must have been in the dressing room at the time. And there's only one person that could be. Well, I must praise you for trying so hard. It's because of you kids that I was removed from center stage. And I will be forced to live out the rest of my life in the shadows, unfortunately. But it's not a total loss, as the underworld will allow me more freedom than you'll ever know. Freedom like what the raven feels as it flies through the dark night sky. You can't lay a finger on me, not now, nor ever. The arm of the law is powerless before me.
Objection!
Powerless, is it? I wouldn't be so sure about that if I were you. What do you mean? Allow me to describe you in one word. Pitiful. Pitiful? How so? Kirostyle,
Your wings were clipped long ago. And for someone who's trying to fly away on them without noticing that fact, pitiful is the perfect word to describe you. Huh, mere words. What do you mean by his wings are clipped, Mr. Edgeworth? Just what do you think it means, Kay? Or just what you think it means, Kay? We had already caught him in a trap a while back. What an incredibly powerful, definitive piece of evidence. Hey, Earth Mr. Prosecutor, care to speak in English? What are you talking about? What piece of evidence? The piece I speak of is, of course, this drop of blood. Well, you know it's not from the victim. I don't see how it remains relevant to the case at all. Miss Von Karma, I believe that is exactly why it's very important to the case. And the part that is the most important is the fact that it's not the victim's blood. You're looking a little pale. Good. Then I believe you're already aware of what I mean. Then you know whose the blood belongs to. Of course I do. This piece of evidence is the irrefutable proof that will stop the killer in his tracks. The blood that soiled the box of samurai dogs belongs to this person. It was Larry! It was Old Bag!
Take that!
The blood of this red sun on this box belongs to you, Kirkus Alba. What? Why is his blood on the box of samurai dogs? He's not even a victim. The blood fell onto the box when Mr. Kochin's body was being loaded onto the pushcart. At that time, the only two people in the dressing room were the victim and his killer. So that's what you mean. If the blood doesn't belong to the victim, then there's only one other person it could belong to. Yes, and that person is the murderer himself. That's the only logical conclusion. But Mr. Kochin was the one who was stabbed, sir. Why would Mr. Alba have been the one who was bleeding? What if during the murder, Mr. Kochin fought back? You mean, if before Mr. Alba could kill him, Mr. Kochin managed to wound Mr. Alba? Yes, and I believe we have a piece of evidence that proves he was bleeding then. What is a piece of evidence that shows Mr. Alba was probably bleeding at the time?
Take that!
Mr. Alba, you bear on your body a great wound. That was from when Damask II attacked me with a pair of scissors. Yeah, and that happened way after he was in the dressing room. Ah, but is that what really happened? You can manufacture a weapon by smearing blood on it, so I can't just accept that as fact. Shall we try a test, Mr. Alba, and see if the shape of your wound matches the scissors?
Objection!
You really are something else, Mr. Edgeworth. You don't let a single thing slip you by, no matter how insignificant the possibility. You're one to talk, Mr. Alba. You've managed to give the law the slip for 10 years as the smuggling ring's leader. No matter the danger, you can hide every last ounce of fear and anxiety from everyone. You truly are a one-of-a-kind criminal.
Objection!
I am the master of my fear. However, to think that a person such as you could miss such a large thing. You believe I've overlooked something. You said that my wound was caused by Mr. Kochin. And it was caused here in the theater's dressing rooms, right? Yes, that is correct. I'd like to point out that it's simply not possible. My wound is a stab wound, and one that could only have come from a blade. I wonder where you'll propose such a weapon came from. This theater is packed with security guards. It would have been impossible for anyone to come into this area with a weapon of any sort.
Not so fast!
Just as Mr. Alba was able to bring it to the alabaster knife in a bouquet, there must have been some way to sneak in a weapon of some sort. But as long as you can't prove what the other way is, all your talk about Mr. Kochin stabbing me is pure nonsense. So if that other way does exist, you'd better hurry and tell me now. With pleasure. Wait, what? This piece of evidence shows us how Mr. Kochin brought a weapon into this theater.
Take that!
Among law enforcement, this piece is known as the Yatagarasu's key. That key! That's the key my father stole from here 7 years ago. And it is very unique, and it is both a key and a knife. Meaning that under the guise of a key, it could have been easily brought into the theater. No! You can dispose of a knife that stabbed you. Therefore, you wiped off the blood and placed it back in Mr. Kochin's pocket. After all, the key itself opens the safe in his office. And inside that safe, there was a document about Kodopian paper signed by Mr. Kochen. In order to make it look like Mr. Kochen died as the leader of the smuggling ring, you had to make it so the police were the ones to open that office safe. All that hard work to save yourself only served to destroy you in the end. Shall we try matching this nice blade with your wound, Mr. Kirkus Alba? And that is what some may call the coup de grace. Impossible! You can't take me down! Swine, all of you! Especially Manny Kochen! This is all because of that man's betrayal! He sought to steal control of the smuggling ring from me by removing me as ambassador, which is why he deserved to die while bearing the guilt for all my crimes for me. That's why I sent out the Yatagras's card, how this incident was born. Manny was supposed to be the smuggling ring's leader who was killed by the Yatagarasu. But I had yet another reason, yet another story that was supposed to play out. Manny's death was supposed to bring everything to a close. And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling prosecutors. And your dog. And your hot dogs. And your old lady. And your steel samurai. Mr. Alba, I'm afraid there's one more question I forgot to ask. This country's or Alabast's, which country's court would you like to be faced in first? Either way, it's game over for you. Edgeworth! Oh, I guess we're back here. March 17th, 11:21 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Oh, this is it, the big day! It's Mr. Alba's trial today. And next week he's scheduled to stand trial in his own country of Alabast. Francisca's heading that one. I suspect she'll be serving a full course of whiplashes at it. Having to face Miss Von Karma in court right after facing you, sir. Ugh, I don't even want to think of what that would be like. I got a glimpse of Mr. Alba as he was being escorted to the courthouse. Yeah, after the scream, I blacked out and woke up in another room with Gumshoe. And boy, he looked about as glum as I do the day before I get my monthly paycheck. You know, I've been thinking. That flight attendant and even Mr. Portsman were all Mr. Alba's secret agents. Correct. The smuggling ring was the common thread between all of the incidents. Cammy Mia was to provide support during smuggling ops, using her job as an attendant. And Mr. Portsman was to manipulate trials related to the ring to end in their favor. Oh, go you airlines, even the prosecutor's office. No one was safe in the smuggling ring, huh, sir? I suspect there are even more members of this ring spread throughout the world. Yeah, it sounds like such a big op, I can't even begin to imagine what it's like. What is it, detective? Ah, nothing. It's just, well, come to think of it. Mr. Ernest Amino's trial is also scheduled for later today, sir. I'm aware of that. Mr. Amino has been working with the smuggling ring now for over 10 years. He used the Amino Group's various connections worldwide to assist the ring. But all that has come to an end as this conglomerate is now undergoing harsh scrutiny. I owe Mr. Amino a debt of gratitude, but he must pay his debt to society. Well, with the arrest of both Mr. Alba and Mr. Amino, I guess that about wraps up the KG8 incident as well, huh? I suppose so. The real killer in the KG8 incident 10 years ago was Manny Kochen. And 7 years ago, the killer in the second KG8 case was Macrel. The two facts are the unshakable truth, however. It seems that a lot of effort was put into hiding these and other truths from us. And I will expose it all at the trials today. You're solving cases left and right today, aren't you, sir? CCU and Dead Man. Perhaps now, these two brave souls who tried to make the truth known can rest in peace. By the way, I received some gifts from Ambassador Paleno. Shrimp, crab, beef. I don't have any need of these, so I'm giving them to you. What? Seriously, sir? Wait, actually, I don't think I want them anymore. The way you're holding them, don't tell me they're just coupons, sir. Detective Gumshoe, have you not read the paper recently? Ever since the two countries became Codopia again, its economy has changed. Really? And it seems Ambassador Paleno's reaped a few benefits of his own from it. He has been announced as the official ambassador of the newly reunified Codopia. But what a pity. Even though every item he sent is a treasure, you don't seem that all interested. Well, if you don't want them, I can give them to my lovely assistant Kay. Wait, that's not what I said. So, Mr. Edgeworth, please let me have them, sir. Actually, come to think of it, where is Kay? How come she's not here? Hey, you gotta be more alert than that. Ugh. I can't believe you didn't notice. I was even mimicking Mr. Edgeworth's voice for a bit. No, I totally didn't notice you. I realized that voice was you. Lang Zi says, ferocious love blooms with each new spring. Agent Lang, a pleasant surprise to see you here. It's been a long time since I set foot in a courthouse, but I wasn't gonna miss. Watching the guy who screwed up my country finally get what's coming to him. Well, that is something else. I want to see you in action in court. Is that so, Agent Lang? We flushed out all the counterfeit bills, so Zhang Fa is finally at peace again. And it's all thanks to you, so I just want to say... thanks. Wow, I never thought I'd see the day-old Wolfies as thanks to Mr. Edgeworth. I should be the one thanking you, Agent Lang. If you hadn't negated Mr. Alba's extraterritorial rights, I would not have been able to bring him to trial. I believe the victory belongs to the both of us in this case. Tuh, a shared victory, huh? Look, don't get me wrong. I'll still never forgive you, prosecutors. And I have zero interest in the truth that thing you talk about in court. I've always done things my own way, and that's not about to change. You got that? I see. Well, I believe you should follow your own creed when you do your job. Yeah, and if there's ever someone your precious truth can't catch, feel free to sit around and cry about it all you want. But as for me, I'm gonna get that person no matter what. Huh. Alright. It's about time for the trial to start. I'll see you later. I'll be watching your performance from the gallery. I'm looking forward to this. I prepared a whole ton of ticker tape for today's victory, sir. I'll help throw some around when Mr. Edgeworth wins. Ha! Hope you've got enough because I'm going to go call my men up as well. A modest amount of ticker tape goes a long way. Scene shifts to the courtroom, and the final act of this long tale begins. Legend of the Great Thief Yatagarasu. It's a story of those who chose to dedicate their lives to the pursuit of the truth. Wait, the text is auto-scrolling now, so I gotta read fast. Prosecutors are those who seek a guilty verdict for the defendants they meet. And to that end, you have no choice but to win by any means necessary. That creed was forced on me since I was very young. However, I no longer think that is all we prosecutors are. It is because... Even though I've only been away from the courtroom for a short time, I feel as though it's been a lifetime since I've set foot in one. And today, more than any other day, I feel the fight within me rising.
Objection!
I'm really in Mr. Edgeworth's debt for the other day. Thanks to him, I'm still free to serve in the friendly blue skies. Oh, so about my suitcases. I've been selling them on the internet, and they become a real sensation. Thanks to the praise the art world has lavished onto my work as being truly postmodern. The airline has chosen me to design the new line of Go-You Jumbo Jets. Just think, someday, you'll be able to take a ride in my pink-walled, yellow-seated jet.
Yeah, imagine if Phoenix Wright is the defense attorney for Alba.
Edgeworth, the rudeness of a rude man. Because of him, my time and money is wasted. But more importantly, I received a most fantastic treasure recently. The Primidax statue of the Principality of Codopia. It weighs a bit light in my hands, but the Ambassador Paleno was most generous. My 1 million cent! We finally caught Agent Hicks' killer, and I was able to witness Mr. Alba's teary eyes. It feels good to finally bring everything to a close. I received another offer from Interpol to work another case in cooperation with them. However, the Codopian courts await. Codopia's air is supposed to be very fresh, so my whip should find new vigor there.
This little patrolman has been fired as of today, sir! I thought I was safe since we found the gun I had dropped. But I hadn't noticed I dropped my police badge too! I guess what really broke the camel's back was that I couldn't find my badge. My little life has suddenly tripped into a dark black hole, sir! I think I'll go to the courthouse and file a complaint with Rufflesman!
I was actually hoping to talk with Mr. Edgeworth a bit more than I did. But I've actually got to get going and return to Europe. I still got a long way to go and a lot of stuff to study there. Next time I help Mr. Edgeworth on a case, I'm going to do it as a real forensic scientist. I'm sure he's going to need all the help I can give him, scientifically. Because the kidnapping was staged, I was let off easy. And I won't be going outside much anytime soon, but that's really okay. The only person I'm forever trapped in is the cage of love. The guard down at the detention center. Well, when he's on guard duty, he has such a cold look in his eyes, just like that prosecutor. Stop it, Lauren! When will you ever learn to stop being a prisoner of love?
It appears there are all sorts of drama that takes place outside the courtroom. Since we judges are here day in and day out, I've only heard a few rumors, but apparently Mr. Edgeworth teamed up with a thief and became a detective. Maybe I should team up with a bailiff and try to become a lawyer or something.
Ooh, I barely escaped death yet again.
Yeah, but boy were we lucky to have Mr. Edgeworth help us out, huh?
Yeah, but because I lost the key, I got fired from my security guard job.
Don't let it get you down, Maggie. You still got me.
You're right, sir. I won't be sad. I'm gonna pick myself up and get through this. I wonder what my next job should be. Oh, this is actually kind of fun. Another game, another job lost for Maggie. Why not come to Kadobia for your summer vacation? We have coupons aplenty. Right now, our embassy is proud to present our Let's Investigate a Murder show! Although recreating that particular case has created a few small fires of its own. Then we had a few problems with the fire marshals, but the next event will be great! It'll be an attraction entitled Capture the Yatagarasu. Of course, I hope to enlist Kei's help in creating our latest attraction. I like how they picked that scene. I can't believe Mindy ditched me and went to Japan. But it's okay, because that's how I met Miharu. We're planning to go to Paris soon and start a business. We're gonna sell Blue Ocean dogs. They'll sell like hotcake hot dogs for sure. A blue hot dog in a blue bun. I guarantee you'll turn your tongue and your face blue. I know I'm not really the type to work a lot or at all really, but... Oh, so I noticed that I really haven't seen the guy in the blue suit at all recently. I wonder what's up. Well, the next time we meet, I'm gonna make him eat one of my dogs. I love how they just all try to avoid mentioning Phoenix's name, like as if we don't know who it is. I gave testimony in court today. As a member of the Yatagarasu. Yo, Mr. Bad, you look well, all things considered. By the way, have you noticed that elements within the ring have begun moving? They're probably fighting over who should succeed. Over who should be the next boss. Although, to be honest, I wish I could forget I'd even heard of that smuggling ring. Lang Zi says, thoroughly bite the poisonous snake from head to tail. No one runs afoul of the law and escapes this wolf's fangs. I'll get you all yet. Youth. When did I become so old, I wonder? I've begun noticing the gray hairs in my beard more. I'm thinking of retiring my mirror. I was a pink princess and the pink badger all in the span of 2 days. Talk about busy. But it's alright, because I got a letter from my beloved Edgipoo. Please take care of your hip. And when you wish to speak first, take off your headpiece. What does that mean by the last statement? It's not like I enjoy being under a headpiece every time I see him. I've been an alien and then some creepy fussy pink animal, and then I was a pink princess and a great hero of justice, but ever since I was a young maid, I started wearing a stylish hat on my head right around to wear my own costume, so even that just sounds like a terrible idea. Yeah, where's our Wendy Oldbag game? March 17th, 4:33 p.m. High Prosecutor's Office. Room 1202.
Well, I feel so much better now the trial's over. And as always, your legal prowess is top-notch, sir.
Yeah, nothing beat the look on Mr. Alba's face when you revealed the ring's secrets. I was amazed. You're like a totally different person when you step into a courtroom.
Mr. Edgeworth's always 10 times fiercer in court.
Based on the information Mr. Alba offered up, they've become large-scale operations to clean up the rest of the ring, which I'm happy to leave to Franziska and Agent Lang.
So what are your plans now, Kay?
Oh, well, we've taken care of the creep who killed my father, so I'm not sure. Hey, I know. Maybe I'll just keep on being Mr. Edgeworth's assistant.
Are you still trying to steal my job, pal?
Just kidding, just kidding. I can't steal something so important to you, Gummy.
Oh, phew. What a relief.
Kay. Yes? Even after all that's happened, are you still planning to become a great thief? Of course! But I don't want to tarnish the legend of the noble Yatagarasu. So I'm gonna hold off on doing anything until I make a tight 3-person team of my own.
Three-person team?
A 3-person team of young beauties the same age as me, if possible.
With those criteria, I highly doubt you'll find the 2 other people you need.
My father chose to fight for the truth. I think that's what's so noble about him. So, you see, Mr. Edgeworth, the only things I will ever steal are the truths that have been hidden away. I'm gonna work extra hard to make a world where the Yatagarasu isn't needed.
Let's both strive for such a future.
Well, I guess it's time for me to get going.
I see. Hey, keep your chin up. Stay strong, okay? And don't be a stranger.
And geez, Kay, you don't need to flatter Edgeworth and Gumshoe. You got 2 beautiful maidens right here. Don't worry, I'll be back. I'll be sure to break the lock on the window and sneak in.
If you could, I'd appreciate it if you came in through the building's front door. It's okay, Mr. Edgeworth. The lock on my window at home has been broken for forever.
Oh, one last thing before I go. Let's take a group picture. Just the 3 of us.
Yeah, a commemorative photo. Every big case has to end with one. No.
Hey, why not?
Don't tell me you're camera shy, Mr. Edgeworth. Of course not, Detective.
Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm taking the picture now. Hey, come back here.
Mr. Edgeworth, you can't run away from this, sir. Hey, Detective Gumshoe.
Stop that. I can't be seen doing that. Okay, I'm totally taking it now. Say cheese.
And thus, the long tale of the KG8 incident came to a close. I saw the demise of a smuggling ring and the birth of a little great thief. But there's little time to rest and relax, for I'm eager to tackle the investigation into a new case. The reason for my eagerness is I want to pursue the truth, and I want to believe in the strength of those who use the power of the law for good. As someone who has chosen to live my life as a prosecutor, that is my new creed. Aw, look at them. Quick, blow your nose on his cravat.
Well, thank you for the stretch. That was great. It was fun going through these games again. Plus, I think one other reason I really like the Ace Attorney Investigations games is because we see so many cameos of characters that we've already seen before. Like Larry, Old Bag, Maggie, Emma. Even like cameos like Lotta, Winston Payne, the Bellboy. It's kind of nice. And again, I keep saying this, but it really makes the entire Ace Attorney universe come together and feel more complete. Because, you know, seeing recurring things or recurring organizations like the Gatewater Hotel and Global Studios being mentioned in multiple places, or the countries they use, like Virginia, Zhengfa, Codopia. And these games are just fun. And I think I still hold that Ace Attorney Investigations is a great game. But Ace Attorney Investigations 2 is outstanding. So I'm so excited to start that one with you. Especially because I know a lot of people have not played Investigations 2 because it has not been officially translated up till now. So we're going to be starting that one tomorrow. It's actually going to be an afternoon stream. I can do an afternoon stream because the first case, of course, is a tutorial case, so it's a little shorter, and I can't stream in the evening. So tomorrow we're going to do Turnabout Trigger. I also want to say, like, one of the reasons why I think the Investigations games, I think, are more fun than the regular Ace Attorney games, in my opinion. And I mentioned this in like a regular Ace Attorney, right? All the action happens in the courtroom. All the fun plot twists and reveals usually happen in the courtroom. And then the investigations are a little bit more drab, right? Because you're just gathering stuff and talking to witnesses. And I like the way this game kind of like paces you between investigating and arguing right away. Plus the fact that we all know regular Ace Attorney is not, you know, very adherent to the way courts and the law work, right? I said erroneously in one of my Great Ace Attorney streams like 3 years ago that, you know, Ace Attorney was kind of written to be a critique upon Japanese courts, and actually that's turned out to be false based on an interview with Shu Takumi. Apparently Shu Takumi just really wants to write a mystery game and thought that having it in the courtrooms would be fun. And he wrote the story out, and then he showed it to like some lawyers, and they were like, no, none of this is actually proper courtroom procedure. And he's like, well, it's too late for me to go back and rewrite it. You know what? I'm just gonna make it in a fictional setting, and it's just a mystery game with the backdrop of being court cases, right? And then I guess people were joking that he accidentally created a good critique upon the Japanese court system, because it actually does kind of critique a little bit of the Japanese court system, the way prosecution works and stuff. So it's almost like he created an accidental critique, but he didn't mean to. My point is that a lot of people, if you play the regular Ace Attorney games, you have to have a little bit of a suspension of disbelief, right? You have to understand that the courts are not the way courts really work, right? You have to understand that a lot of wacky things happen, and you kind of have to let it go. While in this game, yes, they're still bending the law a little bit. Like, obviously, you know, interrogating someone on their crimes outside the courtroom, making them speak, right? And, you know, what you say can and will be used against you. Like, it's a little bit, you know, what we're doing here is not exactly by the book, let's say. But at least because it happens outside the courtroom, I think it's easier to suspend your disbelief that we're actually, you know, not following procedure and breaking the laws and all that stuff, right? Like, it's not as obvious because the setting is not in the courtroom where everything is framed by the courts, right? Of course, there is, you know, a lot of protocols being broken here that we have to kind of ignore, but I also think it's fun because it also means that we also get some of the non-important characters speaking, like the forensics scientists or the Lang's henchmen, or, you know, people that don't have portraits on screen still get a chance to talk here and there. And it also, I think the investigation scenes are more fun to walk around and click on things to examine, rather than just having a static picture that you click and point at things, right? Actually being able to walk around and see how everything is in relation to each other feels a little bit more, I think. But more than anything, I think the fact that all the cases relate together is the best selling point. Because my problem with regular Ace Attorney games is usually not all the cases tie together. At most, it's usually the first case and the last case, maybe a middle case, and then you have like the odd one out, the cases that are just kind of filler. Or if they're not filler, they kind of just teach you about some of the characters, but they don't really add to the plot or the setting, right? So I'm glad that in the investigations teams we have linking plot lines, because it also means we get villains that appear in multiple cases, right? Like we have Callisto U as like a kind of common thread through some of the things, and plus the smuggling ring in general was a common thread as well. It also means at the end of every case we also get some kind of cliffhanger that relates to the other cases, right? So it keeps you on your toes, keeps you piecing things together. It means that there's mysteries from the other cases you don't solve until the very end. And I think the use of having Turnabout Ablaze set in an embassy that is split into 2 different countries, and also have the villain be an ambassador with like the extraterritorial rights, makes it for such an interesting case, right? Plus, obviously, we basically spent 4 hours trying to corner Kirkus Alba, right? And I think the way it came together at times, it's kind of like, yeah, how many times did we do this, old man? Or how many things do we need to prove? But at the same time, it really shows how much of a control he had over everything and how hard he was to reach outside the law, and why all this other stuff went on with the Yatagarasu and all that stuff too. Again, I am a little bit surprised again, now that I play this again, that they don't introduce Kei and Lang and Sheena until episode 3, and then Lang only appears really in episode 3 and 5, and cameo in 4, despite the fact they really do feel like overarching presences. But I think they did a good job doing that on the case, because the cases are actually quite long, right? And unlike a regular Ace Attorney game, which usually divides it into like day 1 investigation, day 1 trial, day 2 investigation, day 2 trial, we don't have that breakup. Instead, it's just like this all happened within the span of 24 hours, and we're staying here at the embassy until 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, that kind of feel to it makes it a little bit less predictable as well, I think. But yeah, I'm excited to share Ace Attorney Investigations 2 with you guys. If you guys enjoyed this, you are gonna love Investigations 2, and I'm very excited to share that with you. The music for these games is also great. Music in Ace Attorney games is always fantastic, especially the character themes, I think, are some of my favorites. And Ace Attorney Investigations 2 has some really good tracks. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. If it was your first go around, or if it was your first time experiencing this with me, I really appreciate it that you chose to spend your time with me. And again, if you guys are new around here, go check out my other VODs on YouTube. I have other playthroughs of other games, including mystery games and visual novels, in addition to JRPGs and horror games and fighting games, and The Great Ace Attorney. So if you want more of this stuff, you can find it there. Let's find someone to raid. Also, some of the characters are just really fun to read for. Like, I had a lot of fun reading like Old Bag, for example, or Callisto U, characters I don't usually have the chance to read. The fact that Ace Attorney characters are so goofy means that I can kind of go silly with my voice and not worry. Okay, it looks like Cassie's streaming some karaoke. Let's go say hi to her. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for Turnabout Trigger in the afternoon. Take care, guys. Bye, Froggy friends.